Put on your mental track shoes and run with me. This is the Powwow with Myra. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we have Reggie Brown. Reggie, thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Reggie is a veteran on the DFW basketball college coaching scene for the past 2 decades plus or more.
Less.
Less?
Maybe, well, if you add the training and all that, I will say more.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Plus,
Mhm.
plus. So he's an Arlington, Texas native who starred for Sam Houston High School and played ball at UTA from 1993 to 97. He started every game over his final 2 years in a Maverick uniform. During his junior season, he averaged a career high 19 points and 4.3 assists while ranking fifth in the Southland Conference in steals and sixth in the league in assists. Reggie also excelled academically, earning recognition as a member of the SLC's All Academic Team in 1994 to 95. Following his collegiate career, Reggie went to Europe to play professionally and spent the 1997-1998 season with the Tolka Rovers in Ireland. Did I say that
You said
correctly?
that right. Exactly.
That season, he averaged 24 points and appeared on the cover of one of Ireland's basketball magazines. Reggie returned to UTA following that season to complete his bachelor's degree in speech communication in 1999. He later coached at Arlington Bowie High School from 99 to 2002, serving as the junior varsity boys basketball coach and a varsity assistant. At Bowie, Brown's team won 3 district championships and 1 by-district title. He served 7 years as an assistant coach at UT Arlington, where he was promoted to associate head coach prior to the 2008-2009 season. During his tenure, the Mavericks won the 2008 Southland Tournament to earn their first ever NCAA tournament appearance, while he also helped the squad win the 2004 Southland Conference regular season championship. In 7 seasons with the Mavericks, he helped coach 11 student athletes to a 13 all-conference honors, including first 4 team selections. Later at SMU, Reggie helped it record its 2 best seasons since joining Conference USA prior to 2005-2006. He concluded the year with the Mustangs, which marked the program's most successful campaign in more than a decade. The squad advanced to the semifinals in the collegeinsider.com tournament. And in 2011, Reggie became TCU's assistant coach. Since then, I'm sure you have done so much more. But why don't you tell us, what are you doing today? Who's Reggie Brown today?
Today. So after I left TCU, I did get offered a job to go to Boston College to coach basketball there. But at that time, my oldest daughter was a track runner. And I felt like Boston would not be a good place to raise a track runner because of the weather and, it's cold up there. So it's kind of just different when it comes to track. So Texas and Florida, those are like the places you want to be when you have a track athlete. So instead of going to Boston College, I reached out to my sister who was the CEO of Chase Bank Consumer Banking. And I was like, look, I need a job, and stuff like that because I don't want to move my daughters and everybody to Boston. So at that point, I started working for Chase. Never thought I would ever be in corporate America. I thought I was going to always be a coach. And so it was definitely something different. I had a lot of people telling me, like, oh, you're not going to last in corporate America. I've done it and all that kind of stuff. But, I don't go by what other people say. I got to experience for myself.
Mm.
So I started coaching. I started working at Chase and which now I'm actually been doing that for, I think, 10 years now, which I never would have thought I would be in corporate America for 10 years. But about 3 or 4 years ago, remember I was watching America's Got Talent. And I was on the back patio just, watching it. And this one guy was talking about like his passion, his dream. He was like, I'm to the point where I feel like my purpose is to dance. So I was like, man, what is my purpose? Like, what's really my purpose? I know my purpose was not to be working for just a bank. Like, what is my purpose? And it's always been to help kids. So that was like on a maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, I started like, man, my passion is kids. By that Saturday, I made some phone calls and I was training 10 kids, at Kennedale High School, just outside. Just I'm just gonna do it for free. I'm just gonna just train kids. I want to just my passion is kids. My passion is helping develop the youth. So I started training kids and decided to open up my own facility after a couple of years. I had parents like, man, we need to do this full time. And I got tired of loading all my equipment up to the track every weekend, putting it back in my pickup truck, going back up there. So I looked for a building and got one. So what I've been doing since TCU, working at Chase, and now have my own facility where I train kids in basketball and agility training. So that's what I'm doing now.
Wow, that is awesome. What a great story, especially leading up to it. You said you started thinking about what your purpose
hmm
was, and then you decided to, hey, I'm just going to do it for free.
hmm
I think like that's really when like if you're willing to do something, even if it's like at the point starting to do it, if you're willing to do it for free, I mean, I think that is the true definition of a purpose,
hmm
right?
That's right.
And then making it your business so that you can have the 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 resources to continue helping kids, because
Mhm.
I mean we have new babies born every day,
Right.
right, so we have youth every day. Wow. So we know you're an Arlington native. So how was your growing up? What kind of household did you grow up in, with how many siblings?
Yeah. So my mom was an educator. So she was a school teacher in Dallas. My dad worked for Xerox. He worked in the warehouse for Xerox. So my dad was big on sports. My mom was big on academics. So it was good. We
Mm.
had a balance of both. So it was me. I'm the baby. So my sister Thasunda Brown Duckett, she's actually the CEO of a company called TIAA now. She was the CEO of Chase Bank Consumer Banking. So she's I think she's the third maybe African American woman to ever be a CEO of a Fortune 100 company. So, and that's my middle sister. Then my oldest brother, Jamaal Brown, he was the oldest. He played at Ohio State for 4 years, and he just passed away in November. So yeah, so it's been 6 months, so that's been still tough dealing with that. But it was us three and our parents. So we grew up over here in the east side of Arlington. To be honest, we didn't really have nothing. We came down from New York. We moved from New York. I was born in New York, and
Mm.
my dad job transferred here, and I mean we had to leave everything. We just came whatever we could fit in a '75 Lincoln. We threw everything in our car, and we just started our life here in Texas with nothing. And we left everything behind, and we just came here. I remember we're eating off of mats and cradles, and we had nothing. So we started our life from scratch. And but we nobody ever knew that. We was always taught to give. If
Mm.
somebody didn't have lunch at school, I had to give them my lunch money because I knew I had a meal when I got home. But that's the way we were raised, and but we never knew we didn't have. We didn't know. We thought this was life. We thought we were good. So yeah, we grew up in Arlington, and me, my brother, and my sister, and our two parents, and that was it.
Do you have any other family here in DFW?
No, all of our families pretty much either in New York or in Louisiana. So
Okay.
it's just us out here in Texas. That's it.
How old were you when you guys relocated?
I was in the third grade, so I probably was maybe what 10, maybe 10 when I moved out here.
Mm.
So left New York and came here.
How was that transition for you?
To me, I was still young, so to me it was just when you're that age, you can find friends quick. Because back in our day, we played outside.
Hmm.
These days, I don't know what I want to do if because kids are inside these days. It's like I don't know how people even find friends no more. It's like online friends. But back then, you could just walk outside and you just start playing, and next thing you know, you got friends and everybody loved you. So it was cool when I moved out here to Texas. It was different. Being in New York, I thought that Texas was about cowboys and riding horses, and it was like when I came out, I was like, oh, they got cars out here, like
What?
So it was seriously like we didn't know because in New York they used to have a movie called Dallas, and or a show called Dallas, and we thought this was what Texas was about. So when I moved out here, I was like, oh, they got cars, and everybody doesn't wear cowboy hats and stuff like that. So it was a culture shock, but it was in a good way. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. The weather is good. I like it.
Yeah, did you leave any friends back there that that maybe you still connect with today? I know that was such a young age, but you
I
never know.
no, I did. My sister and brother were a little bit older,
Mm,
so like they still had friends. Because my brother, he was in maybe in the ninth grade when he moved down here, so he had some friends. But for
mhm.
me, it was once I left New York,
That was
that
it.
was it,
That was it.
and
Yeah.
started here since the third grade and haven't left since.
It's funny. We have a few things in common. For example, you went to Sam Houston High
Hmm.
School. I went to Sam Houston High School myself, and my family also relocated here
Hmm.
from Denver, and I was in the fourth grade. So
Close.
it's close, right? So, like, I remember for me, I hated it.
Hmm.
I like my mom and my dad had a for sale sign at our home, and I would like take it out and put it in the back because I didn't want people to see it
Right.
was for sale. So it was for me. It was hard. Like
Hmm.
I hated the thought of moving to Texas. Now it's like I don't think I would go back. I'd go back all day for vacation,
Hmm.
but
We
to live,
both left, I guess, like cold weather places too for this nice warm weather. So I don't
yes.
want to deal with snow and all that stuff. So
Yes. Oh, yes. I can't imagine myself even in the winter showing
hmm.
the windshield and stuff
Right.
to get out and yeah. So that's it's interesting. We have a few things in common. Also, I would say basketball for me. It's one of my favorite
Nice.
sports. I played sports
Hmm.
throughout well growing up in junior high and high school,
Okay.
and basketball was definitely
Did you play it or you
yeah, I
just
played
oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, I played. I mean, nothing crazy like you. I had I had a like a different mindset. I thought I wasn't good enough
Mhm,
really to pursue things, which now it's like now I see the importance of having mentors such like you
mhm.
that you help develop and it's more of a keep training, let's work on it and things, so I really admire what you do now with the kids and what you've done throughout your history.
Yeah, it was tough, being the baby, I'm not gonna lie, because my brother and sister, they were like the stars at Sam Houston, and, like, Jamaal, my brother, he's one of the he's got inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame in Arlington, but, like, then he played varsity as a sophomore. Because back when we were growing up, high school was 10th through 12th grade, so if you could play varsity as a sophomore, you was like a stud.
Mhm.
So he played varsity as a sophomore and started, then my sister played varsity as a sophomore and started. And I played JV as a sophomore, didn't play varsity, so I was like, "Oh, you're nothing like your brother, you're nothing like your brother." So there was points where it was hard, being the
Ooh.
sibling of 2 stars at Sam Houston,
Ooh.
and you're coming up in their shadows, and sometimes it was tough, and things like that, but I think that's what, drove me was like, I'm just gonna, continue to try to prove people wrong because I feel like I've been doing that my whole life is proving people wrong and stuff
Mhm.
like that, but basketball has been a great avenue for us. My parents, we didn't have college funds and all that, so we knew that in order to go to college, we had to get a scholarship. It was like get a scholarship, or I don't know what to tell you. So my dad always said, if you get a scholarship, I'll buy you a car. Back then, we thought that was great. But when you think about it, a car only costs like $13,000, and you think, well, that's definitely cheaper than paying for college. But that was our mindset. If we go to college, we get us a car. And stuff like that. But I didn't realize I was gonna take my brother's hand-me-down car. Like, I didn't get a new car like my brother. I had to get the hand-me-down car. But, that was our goal. We knew that in order for us to go to college, we have to just honestly get a scholarship
Work
and,
for it.
work for it. It wasn't about putting money aside because we didn't have no money to put aside. So, but that's kinda the what drove us, and we come from a basketball family. We all played basketball, um, and I think that just playing sports, it teaches you a lot.
Mhm.
Just that drive, that competitiveness, teamwork. You just build so many relationships and bonds with sports, and it just teaches you even a lot in a corporate America, those transferable skills, being a part of a team, and stuff like that. So sports have really just paved the way for our family, and it's helped us to become, where we are now. So it's been just, I love it. I love basketball. It's got the chance to see the world playing basketball. So it's been definitely a blessing.
Did you play basketball or any sports prior to like say junior high when they here we don't really have those options in elementary
Hmm.
here, anyways. Or, when I went to school, we didn't really have sports as an option. If you wanted to play sports, it was more you had to kind of have a play outside with
Hmm.
some sort of team. Did you play any sports prior to junior high?
Well, yeah, we played everything. Growing up, we did the cycle, which was back then basketball, baseball, soccer. I mean, basketball, baseball, football.
Mm.
So I played all those three sports. When we were growing up, we did all three. Now it seems like you have to specialize in one now. It's almost like if you do all three now, you're going to get behind in one of the sports. So I'm glad that, when we were growing up, we was able to do all sports and just have fun. So I did do baseball, I did do football, and then of course basketball. So I did all three sports growing up. We all did that back then. Everybody did three sports growing up. So that was the norm.
Now you mentioned like later the incentive at home was get a scholarship
Hmm.
and you get a car. Um, was that kind of the way you were raised, like before getting, hey, you're going to get a car? Like, was there any incentives that your parents, or like how did they help, other than involving you guys in sports? Any other incentives to do good and do well? Say in your elementary years, what was it that like at home?
No, we just always was a sports family. Like
Mm,
it just our dad really pushed sports,
mm,
and like I said, my mom pushed academics. So of course, if we're not taking care of our academics, we couldn't play sports. So that was one of our incentives: playing sports. We had to do good academically.
mm.
But sports has always been big in our family. It's just something that we did growing up. I think by my dad being he never went to college, but he played sports in high school and all that. I think he just understood that, this is probably the best avenue for African American kids maybe to make it out of here. You got to, sometimes it's sports is probably our easiest way to get out. And I'm glad he did, push sports on us. But our mom made sure we had that balance when it came to the church side of things, when it came to the academic side of things, the social life. She made sure that it's not just all sports. Like, look, you guys are going to get out there and do community work. You guys are going to go to church on Sundays. You guys are going to, if you want to go out there and play basketball, you better get your homework done first. So,
Oh,
we had a good childhood, but it was also a great balance with a mom that was big on academics and a dad that was big on sports. So it was a great balance growing up.
with a great mixture there.
Great.
Wow, wow. Where are your parents at now?
They're here in Mansfield area, so they're
Okay.
still here and still, you know, doing good things and still, being involved in the community. So we do
Mm.
have a nonprofit organization in our parents' name. It's called the Otis and Rosie Brown Foundation that my sister started. It's called Extraordinary Is. And it's one of the things where we look for ordinary people in the Dallas Fort Worth area doing extraordinary things. So we give away grant scholarships. Every year we have a big gala. Last year, Wyclef performed there. We've had Kevin Frazier for Entertainment Tonight is always our MC. So it's been pretty big. We started with just me, my brother, and my sister, and now we've grown, and every gala sells out, and it's been good that we could give back to the community. We've done so much for the city. The library in downtown Arlington is named after my parents. In the living room, it says the Otis and Rosie Brown living room
Oh,
when you walk in.
stop.
So we've been Arlington people, just try to give back. My sister got a playground in my dad's name in Arlington. It's called the Pops Playground because we call my dad Pops. So when you walk into that court over there by John's Elementary, over there in the east side of town by Hugh Smith and all that, there's a court out there in our parents' name. And on the floor, it has like all these positive like sayings like extraordinary is reading, extraordinary is smiling, extraordinary is being the best. So when you're out there, you could just keep looking at the stuff on the floor. So we have a court in our parents' name out there, which it's because my dad grew up playing street ball. So we want to definitely put a park in his name out there. So it's pretty cool to go out there and play at your dad's park.
Oh my gosh, I got the chills.
Hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think what's make it
Amazing.
even because we came from nothing, nothing. So it's good to just see that, you could come from nothing and be able to now give back and don't forget where you come from. So everything we do, we just give. Like we just do it from our heart. My mom motto was just do it from the heart. Just do it from the heart. We got t-shirts that says we just do it from the heart. And that's what
Mhm.
we do. So we just like to give, 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 and we don't expect nothing back. We're about giving. I mean, that's all I know. Just like the other day, I was literally at the gas station and this guy pulls up in a bike and I just gave him the shoes off my feet and drove home with my socks on. That just, I mean, these are some brand new shoes I just got, but it's not about that for us. It's like we just give, and I literally drove home with socks on. But that's just the way we were brought up, and we're about just helping, giving back, and don't forget where you come from. So,
Honestly, like this is gold because really the whole reason of like, even like me doing the podcast is like inspiration by people that just do and they give and they're here to support and and also share like their background like and kind of kill those stereotypical thoughts where it's you kind of have to come from a certain family. You kind of have to come from a certain, you know, uh, uh, kind of history to do big things,
mhm,
and this is literally like just proof of the sky's the limit. You
it
just
is.
you just have to follow your heart. I think it comes a lot from that. Like if you follow your heart, just and eventually things will happen. And I'm curious to know what your day to day kind of life was as a child, say in high school,
Mhm.
like playing sports, and what did you do to prepare yourself or to put yourself in a position to be the best that you could.
And for us, is my brother was a great role model for us. He said we saw the way he worked, and being a younger sibling, and you just see how hard that your oldest brother works, and seeing him get up in the morning and running and working out, running the bleachers. Like, man, I saw what it took, and for him to play at the highest level, at
Mm,
the Ohio State, it was big. So for me, just having a role model like my brother, that's kind of I'm like, you know what? I saw him, and I want to model myself after my brother. So that just made me want to get up and work, work, work. And one of the models that one of my favorite quotes was, a champion is made when no one else is watching. So like I was that person that will set my alarm at 3 o'clock in the morning just to wake up and do some push-ups because I feel like nobody's doing no push-ups at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna get up at 3 and do some push-ups because who else is doing push-ups at 3 in the morning? Or I'm that person when it's raining outside, I'm about to go work out because then nobody else is working out in the rain. But I always just felt like let me try to outwork everybody because my brother was blessed with just he was always bigger than everybody. I was small. It's like I tell my parents, like, dude, y'all didn't give me nothing. Like everything just skipped me and went to my brother and my sister. Like I had to work for everything. I was just a little skinny, scrawny kid and stuff like that. But I think it was just what got me through everything was just just never felt like I can't accomplish anything. I didn't care about my size. I didn't care about nothing. I'm like, I'm just gonna outwork you. I'm gonna make sure that I finish first and just having that work ethic. And I think just by having a dad that worked hard to see that he came from nothing to where he's at now. Like my dad, when he grew up, he lived in a house where his bedroom was in the kitchen. Like seriously.
mm,
So we just always had that instilled in us as outworking people. We're gonna always outwork people. No excuses. You're not gonna use our situation as excuses. You're not going to use our finances as excuses. You're not going to use our race as an excuse. So we grew up with there's no excuses. So you go out there and you get what you want. And that was my mindset growing up. I'm going to just outwork you. I'm going to get up. I'm going to work hard. And at the end of the day, we're just going to just whatever God has in store, that's what He has in store. But it wasn't going to be because I didn't work hard. And I feel like that's what got all three of us through college and everything was just our work ethic. And I think it was instilled to us in a young age that you're gonna have to work hard in this world. And you know, people can control a lot of things, but they can't control how hard you work. And
mm.
like my dad always, even playing basketball, like you should never not play hard. Like you might miss shots, you might miss free throws, but you should always play hard. Like that should never not be there. Effort should always be there. So that's the same way we carried it in the classroom too. Like no excuse, we're gonna always outstudy you. Like we're gonna always, just working hard is just something that you should just be able to do. Like I know people say, "Is that a talent?" Because apparently everybody can't do it. So, or they don't want to do it. So I don't know if working hard is a talent. I don't know because it seemed like it should be something that you should do, but apparently everybody can't do it. So maybe it's a talent. I don't know, but that's something that I always told myself I'm going to always, always just try to outwork you.
Outwork. Now, would you hear these words like let you got to outwork, or was that something you just kind of picked up by what you saw?
it's just something I don't know, I was just different. Like I was a
Was
guy.
that something you just picked up?
Yeah,
You know,
just
you're
picked up. I just know that I wasn't blessed with the height. I'm like, I have to outwork you. Like I just knew that I wasn't the biggest one on the baseball field or on the basketball court. So for me, it was gonna have to outwork you and do the little things. If it's the stuff that a lot of people wouldn't do, if it's taking charges or, being the best defensive player on the team, I've always like I'm gonna do the things that I know that other people don't want to do. But
mm,
it was just something that we just all had that work ethic. Like we're gonna outwork you, and we see the way we saw how hard our parents worked, and it's just something that I think just trickled down, and we're all kind of built the same. And sometimes you might have a sibling that falls off, but we were like all together. We call ourselves like we're the unit. We're all together,
the
and
unit.
but our brother to me just he's the one that set the tone for me and my sister. Just the first one to go to college, and he set the tone for us, and and stuff like that. So we're still holding strong for him. Mm,
I see. I see. I see. So, I like in your junior high. I feel like your junior high through high school. It's it's a few years, but they're so
mhm,
transformational, right? Like so much happens within those years. Kind of it almost kind of starts shaping who you are. Other than your brother, what did you have any other like person you were inspired by, like say maybe a basketball player
mhm.
or anybody else that other than your brother that inspired you?
Of course, you're gonna have like the NBA players if it was Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, but to me, it was like my brother. I mean, he was our Michael Jordan because we was able to see him.
Mm.
Even the other day at his Hall of Fame induction, I spoke on behalf of my brother, and like I told people back then, we didn't have social media, so it was like Jamal Brown to us was like our Michael Jordan. We could see him, we could touch him, we could go watch him, and that's all we needed was him. And so, to be honest, like that's what I want to be. Like I didn't wear number 23 because of Michael Jordan. I didn't wear 32 because of Magic Johnson. I wore number 30 in high school because of Jamal Brown. I mean, that's why I wore 30. It wasn't about nobody else. It was my brother. So it was cool that that I was able to see and touch my role model and could talk to him about things. But of course, I did watch those NBA players, but I didn't have to go too far to, you know,
They didn't really have that impact on you
oh,
like
it
your
was my brother. It
brother.
was it was him. He was who I wanted to be.
Would your brother sit and talk and like talk to you or help you guys out? And like for example, like now I have a brother. He's
Mhm,
16. He's about to be 17. And or 17. Okay, so one of those 16, 17, or 17, 18. Yeah, 16, 17, I think. And and so I try to have conversations with him, and I try to kind of help him, kind of push himself, and I guess in some sort help him, give him some type of direction to help him figure out what it is that he wants to
mhm.
do. Did your brother spend time with you guys, and with you, for
Mhm.
example, and help you outside of home?
See, what's crazy that there was a 5-year difference. So it's when you're the like we're this is 5 years. It's like, of course, our parents raised like you better take your brother with you. You better take your brother with you. So to me, it was just more of just watching him. Just more watching. He didn't have to say too much.
Mm.
It was more. There's people that could talk a big game, but then you go out there and you watch him, it's not the same, but he didn't really have to say too much. I could just watch him. I saw him get up in the morning. I saw him come back drenched from working out. I saw him running the bleachers. I saw him in the weight room. I got a chance to see him because he had to tag me along everywhere he went because that's just what big brothers did back then. Um, so, I mean, of course, I got him in a lot of fights because of me. He had to beat up his own friends because I used to pick fights with his friends, and I'm gonna go tell my big brother, and he had to go beat his own friends up, and stuff like that. These are true stories. Like literally, like I was picking fights with his friends, and like you better not touch me. I tell my brother, and then they had touch me, and I go run home, and then my brother have to go beat him up because they touch your little brother. That's what just what it is. But no, but it was just I didn't have to. He didn't have to say too much. It's just we watched him,
Okay.
and of course he had talked to us, about things, but it was just more just he led by example. We didn't. We just saw what he did, and it's like. that was enough for us, and that's probably why I'm a visual learner because I just was just able to just watch him and just saw it and didn't have to say
Mm.
nothing. It was easy just seeing what he did. I'm like, man, okay, I see what hard work gets you, and so it wasn't about him talking; it was about him just doing.
That's a perfect example of like that saying of actions speak
Hmm.
louder than
Right,
words.
exactly.
And so I'm actually very impressed that, at a young age you were able to just pick all of this up and and model in some sense your brother. You understood that it was hard work, versus, sometimes even like nowadays some people see and you hear, especially maybe back then it wasn't so out there because the internet wasn't as evolved as it is now. Um and you still hear it today, put hard work, but what a blessing to have your role model in your home.
Hmm.
And so waking up at 3 a.m. was never really an issue for you to, it was just part of it.
It's part of it. It's just, I want to outwork you, and I just wanted to do
That
something
it
that
was fun.
it was fun. I wanted to do something nobody else was doing at 3 in the morning. So I set my alarm, but I saw my brother do it. So it was just something that just trickled down. You see, my brother does it and he was successful doing it. So I'm going to be just like him. So it was just, it was cool. And like when he went to Ohio State, here I'm little Reggie, as they call me, or Jamal's little brother, going up to Ohio State, hanging around my brother. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like he's a celebrity up here. Like he's a Buckeye. This is fun. And I get to hang around the Buckeyes and see what they do and how they work. And I remember like seeing my brother run the football stadium at Ohio State, the horseshoe. That thing holds over 100,000 people, but he's out there hopping the bleachers up and down the stadium. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, but I saw it, so it was just like, he was just one of he was just big for me. And growing up. And again, it was just about, I think my dad and our parents, like made sure that you're going to be a great role model to your siblings. You're the oldest and he never let us down. He was a great, great role model. Didn't get in trouble. Didn't drink. So I never drank. He didn't smoke. I never smoked. I mean, even to this day, I've never had a drink in my life. But it's like it started because my brother never drank. And stuff like that. So I was just, but because my brother knew that I would do anything he did, and
Mm.
he majored in communications. I majored in communications, so I just wanted to be him. So I think it made him step his game up because he knew that my little brother was
Mm.
watching me. So I'm not going to do anything that you know he won't do because he's going to do. I'm not going to do anything that's going to get him in trouble because he's going to do what I do. And what's crazy is I think one of my first ever tickets that I received was because we're driving and my brother don't have his seatbelt on. I'm like, I'm not wearing my seatbelt. And we actually got pulled over. But I'm like, because I want to be like my brother. He's not gonna wear a seatbelt. I'm not gonna wear a seatbelt. So that's just how much I modeled him that whatever he did, I did. And I think that's the only thing that he probably ever did that I'm like, look what you got me into. You got me in trouble because you didn't wear a seatbelt. I didn't wear a seatbelt. But besides that, everything was just he was a great role model for us, me and my sister.
So you like to pick up fights?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, it was, and they tell you like my brother was grounded one time, and I picked a fight with one of his friends, and my dad told him to get off a punishment and go beat him up. So he had to get off a punishment and go beat one of his friends up because they picked with his little brother. I mean, and I just start fights, so my brother had finished it. So it was fun.
That's hilarious. But I love the bond and like the just the how united you guys were,
Oh yeah,
that
we're close.
he was even willing to fight his own
Oh,
friends,
he
you
no, he
said.
did. It wasn't winning. He had
No,
to.
yeah.
He had to. You pick with your little brother. It doesn't matter. Somebody mess with your brother, you take up for your little brother. So that's just what it is. Nobody picks with your brother. And
So what was your mindset picking up these fights? What
I mean,
was
I didn't know any better. I'm like just being that little pest is trying to start. So I know my brother was a big guy and he could fight. So I'm like, I'm just gonna mess with them. So, like I bet you won't touch me. I bet if you touch me, my brother beat you up and stuff like that. Just
you had
being a
a
kid,
net. You had a
just
net.
being a
Yes,
kid. I mean, just being a
right.
kid and pushing it for where they accidentally touch. I'll bump into like, oh, you touched me. I'm about to go tell my brother, and he have to go beat him up. So yeah,
Yeah, that's hilarious. So did you get in trouble with
mm-mm,
no?
mm-mm.
No?
No, no, that's just life back then. It was just fun. That's life back then. You just have fun, and that's what made your childhood fun back then. Just I tell people it's crazy that when you think about what we do now, like I have my own gym, of course, and I train kids on agility training, quickness, explosiveness, all that kind of good stuff. And I said, what's funny is that we didn't realize everything we did growing up was what we do now to train. What I mean by
Mm.
that, like we didn't know that swimming we were working out. We was in the pool all day, not knowing that that was technically a workout. But we didn't know that growing up. We just thought we were just swimming, but didn't realize that's working every muscle in your body. But we didn't know that back then. We didn't know that jumping rope, playing double dutch was actually working on your quickness. We didn't know
Mm.
playing jacks was working on your hand-eye coordination. We didn't know riding bikes all day was working on your conditioning, your endurance, your calf muscles. We didn't know ringing the doorbell and running was working on your first step, your quickness. Like, you think about all the stuff we did as kids, it was when you think about it, it was actually workouts. If you're playing hide and go seek, you gotta run, quick, move, dodge. That's working on your lateral. Stuff that we pay people to do now. We were doing that for free, but we didn't know any better. We just were being kids, not knowing all this stuff was actually making us quicker, faster, stronger. But we didn't know that. We just thought we were just being kids having fun. And now we have to pay people to do all this for our kids because kids don't play no more outside. And
Mm.
so they play video games and they're not outside playing. And we didn't know that that was just stuff that was actually you become a great athlete, not even knowing we were doing this stuff to become great athletes. We're just being kids. When you think about
Mm.
it, all the games that you played probably worked with some type of motor behavior, some type of quickness, some type of fast twitch muscle, but we had no idea. We're just doing it.
Mhm. Was there any moment in your childhood where it was an aha moment? Maybe like say something happened and you like a lesson that you might have learned out of, of say I mean, it sounds like you didn't get in trouble much.
Nah, cause I was the baby. I was the baby. No, I didn't get in trouble at all. I don't think. For real, like I never got in trouble and stuff like that. I mean, it was just no, I didn't. But
Yeah.
I think as far as a one story that happened sports wise that I think my brother and people always talk about was I think I was maybe in the first or second grade playing baseball, and there was a ball I was playing. I believe I was playing shortstop, and the ball was hit to me, and I got the ball and ran all the way to first base to tag the person. So the coach was like, so my dad was like, I think the coach or my dad or somebody was like, why didn't you throw the ball to first base? So he wasn't gonna catch it. And then, so ever since then they were like, Reggie, he's gonna be all right. He just sees things differently. I just see things different. But I was like, why am I gonna throw the ball to him? He's not gonna catch it. So let me just run and get him out myself. But that was just always me, just always
You had an
just had an eye,
eye.
and I'm gonna just do what I do that I feel is gonna get me where I need to go. So I just I'm just me. And that's what my brother used to always say, like, Reggie's gonna be Reggie, he's gonna do him. Like, you're not gonna make him change his mind or anything like that. He's gonna do him. And that's just me. So that was probably one of the I think people they talk sport wise, that was kind of one of them things where they were like, you know what? He might be all right in sports because he's gonna do what he has to do to get it done.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And, your sister,
Hmm.
it sounds like she was also some sort of a big part
Big part.
of your, your the way you grew up and what you do now. What did you see in her that you were inspired by that
It's
she did?
it's funny. So I think when I was younger, maybe from up until I would say after college, I think my brother was my role model up until maybe like I was 23, 24. And it's funny that when I got into my late 20s, my sister became like more my role model. It's like they just switched places. So then I just saw my sister in a different way. Now, like, man, like, I realized like you don't need sports to have the biggest house or the nicest cars. And I'm like, man, my sister's doing good and she's not playing basketball. Like, "Man, what are you doing?" And stuff like that. So it's more as I got older, it's like my sister became more of like that person that I looked up to and stuff like that. And then me and my brother, we started both looking up to my sisters. Like we all looked up to my brother growing up, but then as we got older, it's like our sister became like, man, we proud of our sister. Like, man, look at sis doing her thing, man. Like sis doing it, and stuff like that. And to just see what she's doing, knowing that where we came from, it's like it's crazy just to see, that she's one of the most powerful women in the world And here we are from the east side of Arlington. She went to Sam Houston. She went to Johns. We didn't know anybody. It's not like she was given a silver spoon. Like we didn't know anybody in the business world. So for her to be where she's at now, knowing where we came from, it's like I'm proud of her. Like it's crazy to see that, you know, and she's so humble about it. Like you would never know. Because
Mm.
she's humble and stuff like that. But it's just cool to know that like we all kind of look up at each other. And it's funny if you talk to my sister, she'll say, "Reggie, you're my role model. You know, I see what you do, how hard you work. You know, the way that you do this. Like, man, you make me want to do better." So it's like we all feed off each other and stuff like that. So but for me, it was my brother. And then later on, is like my sister is like my role model and is like, but we all are like this. We always call it like the unit. And like
Unit.
even when my brother passed away, my sister was like, "Reggie, we're still a unit. Like we're still a unit," and stuff like that. So it's cool to know that we all influence each other. If you talk to my brother, he's like, "Yo, Reg, man, I'm proud of you, man. Like you make me want to work harder. You know, I see the way you are with your kids. It makes me want to be better with my kids." Or so we just all feed off each other. There's never been any jealousy between us siblings, and it was never like, "Oh, well, my brother this or my sister that." Like, we don't get jealous. Like, we're proud of each other. And that's how we always have lived our life. And a story that kind of sums up how we are is about 2 or 3 years ago, we was at our lake house and my sister was talking to me and my brother and sat us down. And she said, "Reggie, I'm going to give you this check to pay for your first year of your gym. Just pay for your rent for the first year." And my brother was like, "Man, that's what's up, bro. Like, man, that's what's up." Like, he wasn't like, "Man, you got this." I didn't get nothing. But he's like, "Reg," man, he said, "Sis, man, that's what's up, man. Man, that's big, sis. You took us
Mm.
care of Reggie." And like, he was so happy for me. And for like 10, 15 minutes, it was like, "Wow, Tashana, thank you, thank you, thank you." That was awesome. And my brother was more happy than me. And it was
Mm.
like so cool. But then about 20 minutes later, there was a car that pulls up and it was a Audi SUV for my brother. It is like, wow, like, and I'm like, "Jay, that's what's like," but it's like before he knew he was getting anything, he was happy for me, not even thinking he was gonna get anything in return. But that's just how we are as a family. Like, we don't get jealous of each other. If one does for one, we're happy for that person that's doing for that one. If my sister took me on vacation, my brother's, like, happy. If my sister took my brother somewhere, I'm happy for that. So we've never been a jealous family of each other. We always just happy and we support each other, and we never had that sibling like hate. We just always loved each other as siblings, and we never really got into any altercations or nothing. So
Wow, that's beautiful because you guys celebrate
we
together
do
everything.
everything.
Everything. How so I know you're a father now,
Hmm.
of 2. Um, did you think about how to cultivate similar, that
Hmm.
bondage, was did so you put thought into that, how do you basically cultivate your own kids now? Or I guess when they were growing up, how
Yeah,
was that for you?
yeah.
I
So
know I'm jumping a little
no,
bit
we're
ahead, but
good.
I'm curious.
Yeah, so they're my daughters are, I believe, 6 years apart. Because I felt for me like I had a true big brother. You have some people that have a big brother only like 6 months apart or a year apart. Like to me, it felt good to have a true big brother. Like I said, if I got into a fight, I could go get my big brother. Like he's really a big brother. But so I kind of
Mhm.
had the same mindset. Like I wanted my daughters, my kids to be like 5 or 6 years apart. So Alexis was the oldest, and to me, we made sure that you're gonna be a great big sister to your sister. Now, to see them now, they're like best friends. Um, it's I see a lot of similarity between how close they are and how close we were. And like they're best friends, they talk, they got each other back. You're not gonna mess with Audie because Alexis is gonna take up for her little sister, and Audie's gonna be protected for her big sister. So they have that tough bond that's unbreakable. Um, and it's cool to know that like Audie has a person to look up to the same way I had two people to look up to. Um, like I said, my oldest daughter, she was a track star. She ran at Kennedale, and then she ended up signing a full track scholarship to the University of Florida. And now she transferred to Baylor. She wanted to come back close to home. So it's cool that Audie saw how hard her sister worked, and now Audie is one of a real good soccer player. She's one of the top soccer players, and she's already getting recruited as a freshman. But she saw how hard her sister worked the way I saw how hard my brother worked. So it's a lot of similarities between Alexis and my brother. They both played at Power Five institutions. You know, my brother played at a Power Five school. Alexis ran track at a Power Five school. And then here's Autumn, the young one, looking up to her sister, who I looked up to my brother, and their bond is unbreakable the way me and my brother and my sister bonded in
Oh,
college.
you mentioned, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so how was your experience in college? Like, what did you expect, and what did you end up experiencing, or was it about what you expected?
You know, when I look back now, sometimes I wish I would have had more fun in college because I was all about basketball and just. But I look back like, man, I just wish I would have maybe went out more and maybe just experienced college life a little bit more and went to maybe more parties and stuff like that. Just because that's that time you can't get back anymore. Once you start having families and kids, that's it. So sometimes I do wish that maybe, I had a little bit more fun in college and not just all about basketball and stuff like that. So I tell my kids, I like just enjoy college, like enjoy your college experience, go out, have fun, stay up late, just be a kid. These are the stuff that you think about. Like, this is college, get up at 4 morning, you got an exam the next day. That's just part of being a college student. So I wish that maybe I would have done more like that, just been more of a student, not just an athlete, and stuff like that. So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have tried to just have a little bit more fun in college and not be so serious about basketball the whole time.
Yeah, it's such a, hard edge because it's like, it sounds like more at the time you were kind of just following what
Mhm.
you thought, what
Right.
what your soul really,
Mhm.
your heart, you're following what your passion.
Right.
Because till this day, basketball is your
It's
your
still there.
passion.
And everybody, no matter what school you go to, no matter what level you played on, everybody that's in college thinks they're going to the NBA. Just what it is. And no matter who tells you otherwise, you're going to the NBA. So you're thinking that I'm going to be the first out of this school to go to the NBA, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So, and as you get older, you realize, like, man, you probably got a better chance of getting struck by lightning to make it to the NBA. But you don't know that when you're 18 and 22 years old. You're thinking, like, I'm going to the NBA. And so you work, 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 and thinking that this is what's going to be you're going to be a millionaire.
Mm.
So, but the good thing about it is, it's by having that thought process, I did gain a degree out of that. And which is now I could really sit back and use my degree to take care of me right now. But when you're younger, you're just thinking NBA, and that's why you're working so hard in college and doing everything you're doing because you want to make it to the NBA. And that was my mindset, like every kid's mindset in college. I'm going to the NBA.
I wonder what your experience is now with working with, kids, and I'm sure you have to do a lot with their parents
Mhm.
as well. Um, do you see like some students or more focus versus others? Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's now where one of the reasons why I did open up, start training kids because I did want to help again the youth out because I feel like a lot of these kids are being misguided.
Mm.
They're not being talked to um, real. Some of these parents are giving these high expectations for these kids, but I'm a person that I want to be real and honest. I'm going to use all my experiences, my connections, and I'm going to be real with you. But I feel like being real is what's going to get these kids to where they need to go. And that's what's wrong with a lot of these parents these days. They're not real with their own kids. And when things don't go right, they blame everybody but their kid. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to start training kids and being more involved in young kids' lives is so I could use my experiences, my examples, my mistakes and make sure that you guys can learn from it. And I try to just tell parents, like, just give me the green light with your kid, but I'm going to be real with you. Um, there's one dad came to me one day and said, "Hey, I heard you're a good trainer. I want my son to play in the NBA. He's a seventh grader. He's 5'11", weighs 230, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, I'll check him out." So he brought him to my gym that I call the Bubble, and I said, "Mm-mm." I said, he needs to worry about making the seventh grade B team. You're worried about him going to the NBA. He's not even good enough to make the seventh grade B team. That's just me being honest and real. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. And like, you having the wrong right now, your expectation for your kid is not right now. Like, you have to be real with your kid. He's not there yet. No, let's worry about him making the seventh grade team first. And but it was cool that the parents, I think, respect me. And to make a long story short, this kid lost 60 pounds. He's really, really good now. But um, it's just being real. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like my goal is to every kid that I train is try to help you get into college. I don't care what level, if it's Division 1, Division 2, but I'm going to be honest and real. And I think that's what's wrong. We don't have people in this profession that's going to be real and honest because everybody is about the money. I could train your kid up. I could do this. I could do that. Well, with me, I don't care about the money. I tell people when I start opening up my gym, I told the parents, y'all pick the price. Y'all dictate my price. When I open up my own gym, I'm like, I don't care, and stuff like that. So the parents dictated my price. I'd rather keep my prices really, really cheap so I could see that kid 3 to 4 times a week than charge all this money where I'm only see that kid once a week. Because if I'm really in it for the kid, I need to see the kid more than once a week if I really want to see this kid grow. So I just want to be one of these people that, and I tell parents all the time, whatever you do, I don't want to know that your kid missed my workout because you didn't have 20 bucks. Like, please don't miss my workout for $20. Like, it ain't that serious. We could figure out something. I have a water hose out there. This kid could wash my car. Like, there's no excuse. But please, if I find out that a kid missed my workout because you don't have 20 bucks, then I'm mad at you as a parent because it's not that serious,
Mm.
and stuff like that. So to me, it just, I just feel like this generation needs people that are just real, that are genuine, that's not going to lie to you, that's not going to sell you a false hope. I'm going to be real with you now. I'm not going to also kill the kid dream. This is me talking to the parent, but at the end of the day, dude, it's hard. Like, I try to tell these kids, like, man, there's so many people working. There's kids in New York, Chicago, that this is their livelihood. This is how they're going to get out of the hood. You guys have a house over your head,
Mhm.
so you might not have that same drive as a kid up north. So it's my job as your coach and your trainer to try to give you that drive internally that maybe you don't know what it's like going without a meal. You don't know what it's like not having a roof over your head because your parents are doing good right now. But so I have to try to trick them a little bit to try to get them to have that different mindset, that tough mindset that, man, it's tough. But also, I could also talk to them about other things that are important, not just basketball. Like, we could talk about, look at my sister. She's not a basketball player, but look what she's doing now. Look at me. I didn't play professional basketball, but I went pro in youth. I went pro in training. I went pro in as a dad. So there's other ways you could go pro, not just in sports. So I just try to just be real with these kids and be straightforward with them and try to be honest with these parents. And I tell the parents all the time, like, if you're going to talk at my practice, leave, because I want them to hear one voice. Like, you're paying me to help your kid become better. So if you don't trust me, then you train your own kid. But I will kick a parent out of my practices if they start talking to their kid like, no, this is my time. But it's just, I just try to
Mhm.
just, be real, use my experiences, my stories, and like I said, if I could change one kid, then I've done my job. But hopefully, I'm going to change more than that. But I feel like my story is definitely changing these kids' lives, and to know that I've never marketed my training one time, never put a flyer out, never did nothing, and to know that, like, I'm at a good place because it was word of mouth and people believed in me, that I didn't have to market myself. I let my work do the talking, and the stories are doing the talking for me. And like, I'm just glad that I could just make an impact in these kids' lives right now.
That's the best kind of
Hmm.
marketing. It's your service to these kids. So I'm curious about that story with that one child that
Hmm.
their parents thought
Yeah.
he was going to make it to the NBA, and you're sitting here like, hey, you
Right.
know, he'll be lucky if he makes it to the B team
Right. At the time, yes.
at the time. Right, right. So how was that journey? So that was a conversation with the parents. What was your conversation with the kid like?
Oh, me and him we were like going at it. Like, he was the only child, and the dad, when you're an only child, like sometimes as a parent, you don't know. Like this is your first child. Like I done raised a daughter that's running track at a high level. So I'm like, I've kind of been there, but you just have to just trust me. But me and that kid, oh, we had some battles, and it was just. But the parents trusted me with their kid that they gave me the green light with their kid. Like Reggie, do what you got to do.
Mm.
And at that point, once a parent trusts me with their kid, then I could now treat this kid like my little brother. Now, like, okay, it's gonna be some tough love. You're not gonna like me, and that's okay. I don't want you to like me if it's gonna make you successful. I don't care. Like, you're not gonna like me. I remember my daughter. I'm gonna go back to my daughter real quick, and then get back to this story. My daughter was 12 and said, "Dad, I want to run track at University of Florida." She told me at 12 years old. She says, "I want to run track at Florida. Florida is one of the top track programs in the country." I said, "Okay, Alexis, if you want to run track at Florida, you're not gonna like me. I'm just gonna tell you this right now because if this is where you want to go, Dad could get you there, but you're not gonna like me." So that Christmas, I bought her a comforter set for Florida because I want her to sleep on her dream every day. You're gonna sleep on this Florida dream every day, this Florida comforter. So when you lay down, you're sleeping on your dream every day. That pillow. So I got her a Florida Gator comforter set. I got her Florida Gator gear, Florida Gator socks, shorts. It was all of Florida Gator Christmas. That's all she got that Christmas was Florida Gator stuff. And but I said, "You're not gonna like me. You're not gonna like me, Alexis. I'm just telling you this right now because Dad could get you there, but you're not gonna like me." Then you fast forward to 5 years after that conversation, the University of Florida is at our house on a home visit. I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. Like when that coach was there, I'm like this is crazy. Like he's actually at our house right now, the University of Florida. Like we spoke this to existence. We put all this work in. And I remember telling that coach at Florida, I said, "Coach, no matter if my daughter signs here or not, I go, you're the reason that she's having all these colleges come to our home right now because you set the bar for my daughter, University of Florida did." And when we went on our official visit to Florida, and they put on their little uniforms and all that. And she came out there in that track uniform on. I'm like, this is not the stuff that I bought. This is the real stuff. Like, this is crazy. Like, she's actually in a Florida Gator track uniform. And this is what she said she wanted when she was 12. But we had our battles. Like, me and her had our battles. And she'll tell you now, like, Dad, thank you. Like, thank you for being hard on me because of you, I'm able to experience my dream of being a Gator. So now we go to B. His name is B, Britton
Wait,
B.
wait, wait, wait. Before we go
Okay.
there, okay. So, did you? You put it kind of upfront with your daughter
Mhm.
that hey, you're not gonna like
You're not
me.
gonna like me.
Did was there a point where she didn't
Oh
like
yeah,
you?
we went at it like
What?
'cause yeah, there was moments because I have to be hard. You have to do this extra one. You have to do this. You have to get up early. Like this is what we have to do. If you want to be a Gator, this is what we have to do. Like now, if you don't want to go to Florida, I'm fine. I'm cool. If it was up to me, I would want both of my kids to play basketball. So let you know that I'm not one of these dads that force my kids to do anything because I would love my kids to play basketball if it was just up to me. But I allow them to choose your sport. And once you choose it, I'm going to help you get where you need to go. But I said, Alexis, you're not going to like me. So yeah, we had our battles. She was tough, but I hated that because there was moments I tried to make her cry. She wouldn't cry. I'm like, if you cry, I'll be done yelling at you, but cry. I want you to cry so I could be done yelling, but she wouldn't break. But we had battles and battles and battles. And
So what was that training like for her that you provided her? What did that look like? So say for example, we have say somebody is watching now that track is their thing, but maybe they don't have that supportive
mm,
figure to help them get there. Just overall, like what were some of the key things you did with your daughter to get her to get Florida State in your living room?
I mean, first and foremost, of course, her faith in God is number one. You got to put God first. That's number one in our life. You got to put God first. But at that point, I'm not gonna say a lot. I think, my genetics helped a lot too, my genes, but which I'm just being funny, but I think she has some good genetics. But no, it's just like my thing is the mental part of it. It's the mental. If you get the mental right, then I think we're good. So again, so Alexis tucked some of the stuff that I did as a kid, and now she was like, "Dad, it's raining outside. Ain't nobody working right now. Let's go run." Same thing I did when I was a kid.
Mm.
Like, "Let's go work out, Dad. Ain't nobody working out right now. It's snowing outside in Texas. Dad, nobody working out in the snow in Texas. Let's go." And we'll be at the track by ourselves in the snow because nobody else is out here. But that was her mindset now that she carried on what I did as a kid, and now she took on that. But of course, you got to. have that village, make sure I find the right trainers, the right coaches. I wasn't a track runner, so I had to rely on my networking, my people that I know to take her to that next level because there's only so much I could do. So to me, it's all about finding the right people and don't be afraid to let somebody else coach your kid. Like it's okay. And also as a parent, I tell people I'm the CEO of my kid. Like I'm the CEO. So there's sometimes you're gonna get trainers and coaches that they want all the credit. They don't want you to take your kid nowhere else. Like, you need to go to me and that's it. Well, no, no. If I feel like three people would get my kid where she needs to go, I'm gonna take my kid to three people. That's just me. Because everybody might bring something different to the table. Now, if I feel like having three people in my kid's life is confusing her because she's like, well, dad, this person's telling me this, and this person's telling me that. I don't know which one to use because I'm confused. Then that's where I have to say, okay, well, that's on me. But if I feel like three people are in my kid's life and that's coaching my daughter, and I see her benefiting from all three, why am I going to just take one? No, use all three then. But
Mm.
a lot of times we're in that world where they don't like that. One person wants to coach your kid because they want the credit and stuff like that. But I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to do what's best for my kids. So to me, as a parent, you have to own it. Like, don't let somebody talk you to say this is the way it should be done. If you don't like it, then well, I will move on. But you also have to realize if it's working. If
Mm.
one coach is working, that's fine. If three coaches is working, that's fine. So even right now, I'm not the only one that trains with my kids, but that's okay. I'm only worried about what I do with your kid when he's with me. Whatever he does outside of me, that's your business. I don't. That's none of my business. But I can sit here now if the kid is confused because he's getting two coaches telling him two different things, and now the kid is confused. That's what the parent has to decide. Okay, which one you want to stick with. But
Mm.
to me, it's about just making sure you have the right people around your kid, that you have the right village around your kid, and make sure as a parent you're doing your research. And I just, to me, I always going to challenge my kid mental. Not
Mm.
really worried about their physical. I'm going to challenge their mental. I feel like if they could just get their mental right, then we're going to be all right.
When you were looking for coaches or mentors for your daughter or daughters, what were some of the things you were looking for in a coach?
People that's been there, people that ran on a high level, people that you know was successful in track and field. So one of her coaches, Daisha, she went to Sam Houston. She was to me a track stud. I remember Daisha when I was in high school. I'm like, man, Daisha was fast. So Daisha was a female that ran track. She started coaching. So of course, when it was time for me to seek out somebody that I wanted my daughter to run with, I called Daisha up, and she was a female. She ran at Texas State, but I knew she was somebody that would understand the female body.
Mm.
To understand what maybe stuff that I can relate to. I don't know what it's like to run on your cycle. Like, I don't know if that's an excuse or not. So let me get you a female that can say, Lexus, when I was on, I was like, oh, I knew how to run. This is what I did. So I wanted a female to talk to my daughter, stuff that I can't relate to, a female's body, what they go through. I don't know what that's like. So I sought out, Daisha at that time. Later on, one of my sister friends, Lamont, he was an Olympian. He was best friends with Carl Lewis. He was an Olympian. So why not put him in my daughter's life because he was an Olympic track runner. He was a gold medalist. So he was also in my daughter's circle. So I just tried to get people around her that ran on the highest level, that could make phone calls, that knew track. 'Cause I don't know track and field. So, but I wasn't afraid to say I don't know track and field, and let me find people that I feel that let me use my connections and get these people in my daughter's village. So that's what I
Mm.
did.
Wow. How when did you like realize like hey like or was I mean I'm curious to know how that mindset was kind of developed for you to learn to utilize the tools
Hmm.
around you and be humble enough to say um you know I can be a star in basketball, but I don't know like track.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like it takes a level of humbleness to say that and seek out for these tools because even as it's actually one of the similarities I found with like some of the great coaches and now I include you in that list like not just great, but like just elite, right? And it's like they learn to utilize their resources, and this can even even translate over to business, right? Like if you want a successful career, then you look for someone to model to learn from, right? So was h- how did you learn that, or when did you pick that up? If you can remember, it could be just I don't know. Do you know? You know what I mean?
Not really.
No.
No.
Okay.
Mhm,
Wow.
mhm.
So you just learned to you just knew that you had to
Yeah, I
utilize your
mean yeah, I mean,
resources.
I just one of them things where my mom used to always tell us there's no such thing as a dumb question, So, to me, like,
Mm,
don't be afraid to ask,
mm,
like, if you have a question, ask. If you need help, ask. So, we always grew up where there's nothing wrong with asking for help. So,
okay.
um, I knew that, again, I wasn't gonna force my kids to do something like play basketball because dad played basketball, your uncle played basketball, your sister, your aunt played basketball, like, if you like, of course, every kid usually start out in soccer, and I'm like, okay, she's kind of fast too. She's running, she usually looks fast out there with these boys, but it was just something that I knew that I think about being a coach, that you're not a, you always tell your kids, if you need help, I'm here for you. If you want to get help on your jump shot, I'm here for you. So same with my kids. If they need help, let's go find somebody that can help you. And I just use my resources by being a coach. I knew the track coaches at college. I knew the high school track coaches. So I was just able to use to me, I always tell people that in life you want to have options. So my thing is like, I work hard so I can have options in life. So I could use my options, my networking. You just never know when you could use them. So it was cool that
Mhm.
I could use it for my kids. And I tell people, even the kids I train, I go, I know a lot of college basketball coaches. I said a lot. I said, I'm hoping that you guys will listen to me and believe in me because I want to use my hookups for y'all. Like if you never see a college coach at one of your basketball games, that means you didn't do what I told you to do because I want to use my connections. What's the point of having all these connections? You can't use it. So same with
Mm,
all these track people I knew. Like I'm glad that I was able to use my connections, but I'm also glad that my kids are coachable
mm,
because I don't know if I felt like my kids were bad and they wasn't coachable, I'm not going to use my connections on my kids because what if I needed to use it for somebody else that was coachable? Oh man, I remember the last time Reggie brought me a kid, man, he wasn't coachable. His kids wasn't like that. And so, um, to me, it was just not afraid and being brought up like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And Reggie, you're not going to know everything. And I don't know track and like my youngest one plays soccer. I don't know anything about soccer. So I have to use my connections to get her soccer training because I don't know anything about soccer.
mm.
So it's the same. Just don't be afraid to ask for help, and just make sure you do the research on the people that you're going to involve in your kid's life and stuff like that because these are going to be the people that's probably going to be around your kid more than you now. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. And I'm glad you said that, because that's definitely going to be a clip out there because it sounds so simplistic, but it at the same time you wonder, why a lot of us maybe don't sometimes don't use those resources that are available, whatever it is that's available. And a lot of everything's available, really.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of, like you said, doing the research and putting these people that've been through it to help the next kid, you know, reach their
Hmm.
potential. So now tell me a little bit about this other kid and that you helped
Yeah.
train, 60
Yeah,
pounds.
being as crazy. I have his before and after picture. Like I just show people it's crazy when you see him. But he was a kid. Like I said, dad brought him to me. And the good thing about B situation was he came during COVID, um, which it was crazy because I actually opened up my gym during COVID, which was probably in
Mm,
everybody's mind was dumb, but it was the perfect time for me because nobody was going. You couldn't get into no gyms. You couldn't get into everything was just bad. But I
mm,
had this gym and I opened up during COVID, and B was one of my first kids, and so I was able to get a lot of one on one with B. And like man, me and him like just we it was bad. Like I'm talking about like he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. And I'm just staying on him, staying on him, staying on him. Where it was bad, but we got through it. We had our IB, and he's getting mad. He's Like, get it out. I don't care. Get it out. But you ain't gonna quit, and stuff like that. But the key was his parents gave me the green light, and his parents believed in me, so they trusted me with their kid. And at this point, I fast forward. Here's a guy that couldn't make one down and back in a gym, or couldn't do one push up, or couldn't make it through a workout. Needed 20 million water breaks. Now, B is one of my best workers, hardest workers. Lost over 60 pounds. Looks lean, couldn't dribble like one of my best ball handlers, couldn't shoot one of my best shooters. And it's just crazy to see like how far he's come from when I first got him. But it was also that tough love and me having to be honest with his dad and his parents, like, hold on, let's not let's slow it down a little bit. Let's just let's let B be the best seventh grader he could be, but let's not worry about this NBA stuff right now and stuff like that. But it's a hard conversation to have because some parents might be like, well, if you don't believe in my, it's not about believing in your kid. I believe in every kid, but it's about being real with your kid. And I'm not going to sell your kid on a false hope. I'm not saying he can't play in the NBA, but let's hold up right now, and stuff like that. Let's just make him the best seventh grader he could be right now. Then let's make him the best eighth grader he could be. Then we'll work our way up. But let's just let's just take this, step by step right now. But it's so good to see B because it's a testimony that, you know, man, if you believe in a kid and a parent trusts this person and the kid trusts you and it could all come full circle. And he's one of my favorite stories to talk about because I've seen it with my own eyes, like, wow, like this kid is not the same kid no more. It's crazy. Hmm.
When do you think the breakthrough moment was? So, I'm sure at the beginning, it was. I think you mentioned it was tough.
Hmm.
I'm sure he didn't like you at first. Does he like you now?
Oh, he loves me now. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't want to miss a workout now. But it's funny because when you're training kids, you don't really know when that breakout moment because
Mm,
it's kind of like when you have your own kids. To you, your kids like they don't look like they grown to you because you see them every day. It's like, but then somebody said, "Man, your kid got tall." Like, or you can see somebody else's kid that's the same age as your kid. Like, man, you're tall, but when you see it every day, you don't really know that your kid is getting taller. Like, you don't see some of these things as a parent. So like, I don't know when it just clicked with B. Like, I go back, I'm like, when did it click? Like, when did you start handling the ball as well? When did you start shooting? Like, I don't know when it just happened because you just keep going and going. Then you look back and like you look back at old videos, you're like, man, like wow. So I don't know when it happened, but it happened.
okay. That's really interesting to hear because it's like y- you're training this child, but sounds also like you're not just training them in these physical conditions. Do you have it sounds like you also work with you mentioned the importance of like the mindset.
Hmm.
Do you sit down and have conversations that are not maybe related to to working out?
Oh
Do,
yeah,
do
we
you
talk.
have
Yeah, I have
yeah.
those talks with them all the time, and even like my facility, like we call it the bubble. It's I don't have air conditioning like these $1 million facilities, so it is hot in there or it's cold in there. But to me, it's that's mental toughness.
Mm.
I don't want them to be in the greatest conditions. I want you to deal with a little bit of heat. I want you to sweat. I want you to go through some adversity. Everything's not going to be perfect. The floors are not going to always be sticky. Like you have to deal with stuff like that. So it's also just putting them in those
Mm.
situations. And like I tell them when we're training my gym, like, yeah, we train like Rocky. Like we not, like Rocky Balboa, he trained and whatever. Like we don't have all this state of the art facility, but we could get it done right here. So but also I do, parents were like, Reggie, can you talk to, B or the good thing about me also, like I could also pick up the phone and call the coach at Baylor, call the coach at Texas, because I have connections and I can sit there and say, look, would y'all recruit a kid that can't finish this? They're like, no, Reggie, I wouldn't do this. Or if I said, Coach, if I call you right now and told you that I got a kid that could play, what would you do? They said, Reggie, I'll be up there tomorrow. So it's good for these kids to know that I know people on the level that they're trying to get at. So
Mhm.
they're going to probably believe me a little bit because they know I know people and I got connections. I know parents of kids that are in the NBA where I could call that parent up and say, "Hey, can you put your son on the phone real quick? That plays, that's our NBA players, and they can talk to these kids, but they know that I know people, and they see that, and so I think they kind of believe me a little bit more because they know I could put you on the phone. I could go Facebook Live and have college coaches watching you work out right now in my gym. They can see you right now. Like I could say, hey man, go to my Facebook Live and what you think about this kid. So that's good that when you have those built-in relationships where you can now use them to help motivate these kids. And so it's cool. But yeah, I do have those talks with them about the mental toughness, about respecting, about going hard, about being thankful. Like I see a lot of kids where they feel sorry for themselves, and I'm like, hold up. I go, let's go visit Cook Children's Hospital. I go, those kids, they're having a tough life. I'm like, you think your life is tough? I said, you're mad because you can't finish a down and back. I said, these kids will love to be able to run. They can't even run right now. I said, when you're feeling sorry for yourself, like really? You're telling me that you're tired. I said, these kids will love to be tired. I said, but they don't know what it's like to be able to run, to be able to go run up and down. I said, so you guys are taking all this for granted. Like, go visit Cook's Children and you will see kids that are fighting. I said, you think you're fighting? No, these kids are fighting for their life. So don't tell me that this is hard. This is not hard. This is fun. Like I never looked at running a kid for punishment. So I hate when a parent I could be in the middle of a training and a kid might miss a layup and the parent might say, hold up, tell their kid to do push-ups. I say, first of all, don't talk to your kid during my training. And number two, why are you making your kid do a push-up? The parent was like, because he missed a layup. I said, but doesn't a push-up make you stronger? So ain't that a reward? How is a push-up a punishment when it makes you stronger?
Mm.
How is running punishment when it makes you stronger? See, I never looked at running as a punishment. A lot of coaches, when you have a bad practice, let's run. No, I thought running makes you stronger. Don't people run to get stronger? Don't people run to be in condition? To me, the way you punish a kid is by telling them to sit down because now they can't get better. If you're going to punish your kid, don't make them do push-ups. That's a reward. Like that gets you stronger. So I never looked at running push as a punishment. I never did that. So when you could train your mind to look at when a coach tries to run you, I'm like, coach, can we run some more? Because isn't this getting me stronger, coach? Like, how are you punishing me when you're making me run? Running, my daughter runs track. You realize that's how they get better? You
Yeah, yeah,
realize
yeah.
that's for track runners, that's their workout, is what everybody else. So I never looked at, I hate when a parent try to tell their kid to do push-ups. I don't like that. Because that's a reward.
Mhm.
How's getting stronger a punishment? How's running a punishment? Never understood that.
It's the perspective,
Yes.
right? It's the perspective, and it's interesting. I never really thought about it that way because even like me playing sports,
Hmm.
if somebody shows up late, like the
Run.
entire team is
Right.
doing, bleachers,
Right.
the entire team is just gonna run for the
Hmm.
entire class versus practicing basketball for the drills, right? So yes, even in school,
Yeah.
um, the the you're punished by working out.
Mhm.
So I never
I
thought about
never
it like that.
ever looked at running as a punishment. So when I was coaching, if we had a real good practice, we ran. If we had a bad practice, we didn't run because running is a reward. So how is that a punishment?
Mm,
So if we had a real good practice, all right, let's go. We're gonna run now. So I had them like, all right, coach, because we're trying to get better. So I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna run you after a real good practice because that's a reward. Running you is a reward. Like if I'm gonna punish you, go to the locker room, get out of here because you can't get better now. To me, that's a punishment
mm,
because now you can't get better. So while we're not getting better, Martin Warriors over there practicing right now. Arlington High's over there practicing right now. So no, if I'm gonna really punish you, put the ball up, go home. That's a punishment to
mm,
me. Now some kids are like, yes, I ain't got to run. Well, if you have that mindset, I don't want you anyway. So that
mhm.
wasn't me. I never ever looked at. I hate when I see parents tell their kids to do push-ups after a layup or tell them to run. Like, dude, you just got your kids stronger. That's not a punishment. So no, that's not. No, you can't look at running as a punishment. And again, I go back to Cook's Children. Those kids will love to be able to
Mhm.
run. So how's that a
Right,
punishment when kids want it when a kid can't run? So no, it's not
right.
a punishment.
Or
It's a
even,
reward.
just people with
Disability, it's a
disabilities.
reward. So I never looked at running and doing extra as a punishment. I'm like, if I gave you extra money, isn't that a reward? So if I'm telling you to run extra, isn't that a reward? So how's that a punishment? So to me, extra is never a punishment to me. Running is never a punishment. That's a reward because you're getting people. What did you do when you're trying to get in shape? You go run.
Right.
So why is that a punishment now? Why do you use it as a punishment? When people at our age, we got to run, we want to stay in shape. Your husband's doing CrossFit. He does all these things that coaches do for punishment. We're doing this to live a longer life. So how is running a punishment? I would never ever look at running as a punishment. I was that type of person in college when a coach said we're going to run 4 transitions. I'm like, coach, why don't you make it 5? Let's run 6. Now my teammates were pissed at me, but I'm like, coach, is this all you got? Like, this it? Like, okay. That was just my mindset.
Yes. Wow, that you know, it's so crazy because I feel like growing up when you have people using certain things as punishment, just unconsciously you just adopt that as
Hmm.
I shouldn't I that's a bad, like, I'm not gonna do that. Oh, and if you do it for whatever reason, maybe you are trying to lose weight. Now it's like the biggest struggle is sometimes it's getting on the treadmill because you see
Hmm.
it, you the perspective you have for whatever it is that you're doing to be better, to live a better life, to be healthy, is you're looking at it as almost like an enemy.
Hmm.
Like, oh, this is just what I have to do, right? Like, instead of, on the flip side, seeing it as, hey, this is fun, like this is only making me
That's
better,
it.
right? And so that is so powerful. I've never heard it from anybody
Mhm.
else, and that's a problem.
That's why I look at it, and my kids know that too. You know, they don't. I will give my kids 3 seconds to answer me. If I said, "Hey, Lex, you want to go work out?" And she goes, nope, we're not working out." Took too long to answer. Like, no, if somebody could give you $1 million, you're not gonna go, if it's illegal. Like, no, you're gonna like, yes. I said, so you have to
Mhm.
treat this like it's serious, but I'm not gonna make, you know what, but so they were like, Dad, let's work out. But we don't look at stuff like that as punishment. We never look at. I could tell Autumn after a soccer practice. These parents didn't believe me, so they had a real hard soccer practice one time when she was like maybe 8 years old. And I said, I could tell my daughter right now, hey, we're gonna get in the car, we're gonna go run some bleachers. And she's gonna say, okay. They said, no, she won't. I said, yes, she will. So I said, Autumn, let's get your stuff. We gotta go run some bleachers. Okay. She goes, yes, sir. But that's just their mindset. They know that that's not a punishment because we're trying to separate ourselves. If everybody did the exact same thing, how are we gonna get better? We gotta separate ourselves. So you know what? We might go run bleachers after practice, but I don't get that as a punishment. And my kids, because that's good for your health. The conditioning, it helps your heart rate. Like, how's that punishment? So I'm not crazy now with I'm not one of these, but I just never looked at. So I had my kids trained. I'm not saying train, but if a coach tell you to run, smile because it's not a punishment. So you couldn't break them. It goes back to the mental
Mhm.
part. So you're not gonna. So we looked at running as a reward because it makes you better.
Yes, yes, and I love the fact that it's 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 the mindset that just kind of, everything else is really just kind of like a trickle
Hmm.
down, and it's that mental toughness, and it's not just like in the say in that particular moment or sport. It just trickles down to everything else in life, because if when life does come, and and not every, like, we all of us have those days where they're not, maybe emotionally, we're not there, and it's these principles, the mindset that helps you get up quicker
Hmm.
versus and looking at, okay, looking at things in a positive way, and which enables you to kind of get up on your feet faster
Hmm.
and get going with your life, versus staying in that hole, that sometimes, for a lot of people it's hard to get out of
Hmm.
sometimes, and then they look for, other ways to suppress those emotions that may not be the healthiest,
Hmm.
maybe quite the opposite, might be more hurtful, and then that's just kind of like a scary path to go, that
Hmm.
could go through, right? Versus, hey, you kind of have that mindset where, it's a warrior type
You
mindset.
got to. It's how you view things. That's a good thing about life, man. You could look at life the way you want to look at life. Like we talk about the glass is a half full, half empty. It's how you look at things,
Mm.
and your mind is powerful. It's a powerful weapon, dude. It's you could. I'm not saying trick it, but that's just to me the truth. I mean, it's not like again. Your husband works out because he wants to get in shape. That's why he runs. He does CrossFit. Because he wants to be in shape. So I just never looked at running as a punishment. I would never look at it. So when I train my kids, if even right now in training, if they're having a bad day, you know what? Get yourself leave. We're done. Shut it down. We're done. I'm not going to run you. Just I tell the parents they're not coming to work today. Just go. Bye. That's it. Like just leave because you can't get better. That's a punishment to me. You can't get better. And they get
Right.
mad. They don't want to leave. Like no, no, leave. Nope. That's it.
What a
Get out of here.
lesson.
Like, because I don't want you to get better. No, this is the punishment because I don't want you to get better today because you're not trying to get better. So the only way I could really punish you is take the leave. If I run you, you're having a workout. No, that's a workout now. That's getting better. People pay people to run and condition. No, yes, no, leave. And parents, I'm like, get your kid go. And they be like, I'm like, no, get your kid go. He didn't come into work, so y'all need to get in the car and leave. And I'll see y'all next time. But I'm not going to run you.
Do you get any pushback from
No.
parents?
Mm-mm.
No,
I think because they respect me, they respect, you
they
know, they
understand.
understand. They know I'm coming from a good place. And when they see it my way, they're like, oh,
Mm.
okay. But that's the way I see it. And when you're with me now, if you want to coach your own team, if you want to run your kids for punishment, that's on you. But for me, don't tell your kid to do push-ups in my gym after he misses a layup because that's got him stronger. No, he just got stronger. We're trying to punish him, aren't we? So why are we going to tell him to do push-ups? He just got stronger doing 5 push-ups. No, no, that's not a punishment to me. Tell your, if anything, I will sit your kid down while everybody else is working out. That's a punishment. Um, the only time that I used running as a punishment, the only time, if when we was coaching college, if a kid missed class, the kid that missed class didn't run. The team ran for him.
Mm.
He sat there. We gave him a bunch of water. We gave him a water bottle. We gave him a nice little chair. We said, "Nah, you sit down and you just chill." Like, "Nah, you don't want to go to class. They're gonna run for you. Don't worry about it." Because it's we're punishing that kid, and he hated it because now he's seeing his teammates technically have to run for him, even though
Mm.
we know it's a reward, but still nobody wants to run for somebody else like that. So, but the kid that got in trouble, he didn't run. He sat there
Mm.
drunk. We said, "No, no, sit back. While it's hot outside, you drink that water." And we said, until you finish that gallon of water, they're going to keep running until you finish, but keep drinking, have fun. We gave them an umbrella. We
Oh,
said, just sit back. And this is true story. But that kid never missed class again
wow.
because now he knows that it affects everybody if he misses
Mm.
class. This is a team sport. So now if you really care about your teammates, you're going to go to class now because you see what's going to happen if you don't go to class.
Mm.
So we never had kids miss class because they knew that if they miss class, that the other teammates have to run for them, which it's another person's not running. So technically, we're not punishing that kid. We're like, but we said, no, just
Mm.
sit. Cause
That's
yeah,
powerful.
and that's what we did. But that's the only time I would ever use running as a punishment is when I'm trying to prove a point to that kid that
Mm.
misses
Mm.
that, okay, you think it's fun to miss class? Okay, you sit down, they're going to run for you now.
Mm.
And but that's the only time I ever use it. But still, technically, it was rewarding those other kids because they did get stronger and better. But that kid over there, he understood the point what we were trying to get. So, and it worked.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a wide opener because you guys aren't doing what maybe they expect. You
Mm,
know that it's like it's mind blowing. They never probably expected to be sitting there comfortable with a
mm-mm.
bottle of water,
Yeah.
an umbrella.
Yeah,
You
relax. No, put
know.
a straw in there, relax. Put it on. No, no, relax. So, what's crazy was that same kid, this is no lie, that same kid, that same day, we had open gym. Um, and he went, I guess he went to like Kroger or something and bought a bunch of Gatorade for his teammates. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he was sorry for them
Mm.
because the teammates were like, look, man, hey, they want to fight now. And this is college. Like, dude, you didn't take it but the class because I'm not going to run for you no more. But it was a teaching point. It was a teaching point. So, but
Hmm.
again, that's what we did. The kid that missed class, you just sit. You ain't got to run. But if you really care about your teammates, if you really care about them, you're gonna like, man, I don't want to go to class today, but man, what if today's the day that the coaches check my class? And if I'm not in there, man, my team is going to run for me. So we use it at that point because this is a team sport.
Yep.
So hey, you better go or your team's gonna suffer. So it makes kids now, it's not about you no more. It's about the team.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you'll go if you care about your team.
Definitely, I do. That is one of the things that I do love about sport or
Hmm.
team sports, because I feel like even for me, I feel like a lot of times the reason why I tried to look at different perspectives was because of playing team sports.
Hmm.
Like I understand that what I do affects the rest of the team, or what I don't do affects
Hmm.
the rest of the team. So, and having these aha moments, you know, definitely make a impact for a lifetime,
Right.
for a lifetime. So that one moment, it's just gonna it's just gonna stick forever. And the way you explained of how you do things,
Hmm.
it's so unusual from my
Hmm.
experience anyways, right? So, ooh,
You have to just, man, you got to just try to look at things different, and
mm,
that's how I've always been. Like, just try to think outside the box, but I always try to trick my mind. Like, just let me try to, because I know that 95% of 99% of people are going to want to run you. So you know what? Let me flip this.
mhm,
Let me coach this. No, coach, you really this ain't punishment. And then I just looked at myself as this is a workout. Like my brother, when he worked for UPS, he used to want the third floor apartments because he wanted like that's a workout. Let me see how fast I could take this box up these stairs real quick. So we didn't look at it like, oh man, that's 3 floors. We look like, yeah, that's a workout today. I'm gonna get my calves stronger. So we just always looked at stuff that
mm,
everybody looks at as I don't want that to like, man, I want that job. I want that third floor one because it's a workout. I get to do 3 stairs, 3 flights of stairs. So that's just
kind of turn it into a
turn it into it's a
game.
workout. Like so it's cool. So we just never looked at stuff that other people look at as, oh shoot, this is five. Like even at hotels, I don't take the elevator. Like I don't take the elevator. And even when I was at UTA, our head coach Scott Cross, who's at Troy now, our motto was take the stairs.
Mm,
Like we're gonna take the stairs. We're not gonna take the elevator. So even if we look at the elevator is for certain people, we looked at like, no, we're gonna take our bags and we're gonna take the elevator. If there's 4 or 5 flights, we're not taking the elevator. We're taking our bags and we take the elevator. We take the stairs. I'm sorry. We're gonna take the
mhm,
stairs, not the elevator. So even right now, if I'm at a hotel, I don't take the elevator. Now, if the room is like on the 20th floor, that's something different. But for the most part, 9, 8, 7, no, I'm taking stairs. That's just me,
mm.
but that's our mindset. Like we take the stairs. So
it,
mm,
it it just shows like your values, your principles, and everything's just aligned. And it shows the true you, like what it's kind of like what your growing up seeing your brother. It wasn't that what he said; it was what he did.
mhm,
So it's staying true to yourself and your what you do. I mean, it just shows in every aspect, from what I
mhm.
from what I'm understanding.
We're blessed. Like I think we take it for granted. And I think after losing my
Mm,
brother, we always say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or tomorrow's always promised. And you believe that. And now I know that tomorrow's not always promised because I'm pretty sure my brother thought tomorrow was promised. I mean, he was hugging his girlfriend and died. That's how he died. Yeah, he hugging his girlfriend, passed away. So,
stop.
yeah, so now I know that tomorrow's not promised. So we say that with the ideal that it is promised. It's you would say, oh, tomorrow's not promised, but you think that it is promised, even though we
It's
say
more
it.
like a
Yeah, more like a
cliche.
cliche, but now I know it's not promised now. I know that it could be taken away from me any minute now. So that's why I'm blessed that I could take the stairs. I'm not gonna take the elevator. That's just me. I would not take an elevator at a hotel. Why? 3 floors? Why? 2 floors? Really? We're waiting for the elevator for 2 floors? Seriously? And we're healthy? Come on, y'all. Like, no, not doing it, and I would never take the stairs ever. When I'm at the hotel, man, I'll take the fifth floor. I'm taking the stairs. That's just me. But I just have that mindset like, there's gonna come a point where I have to take the elevator.
Mhm.
As I get older and my body ain't working, I might have to take it if I'm injured or something like that. But if I'm healthy, I will not take the elevator. Just not gonna do it.
Mm.
That's just me though. I look at things, it's a workout. Ooh, you
Mhm.
know what? I just burned 5 calories just walking down these stairs today. But no, I'm not. But that's how I look at life.
I
Like
love it.
the elevator is for to me, people that can't make it up the stairs. That's just my personal opinion. I will carry my luggage up 5 flights of stairs because that's just me. So elevator to
Mhm.
me is a privilege. Oh, you don't have to take it because it's there. Just run up the stairs and you're good.
Yeah, it just puts it into perspective, really. Like the way you were explaining it, like it. and kind of takes it back to like this is a privilege,
Privilege.
like this you have the capabilities to to do things that maybe some other people can't do, and that's why and that's a perfect example to use the elevator for example, and just using this example, it's like some people really can't
Hey,
take the stairs.
that's now is your house a one story or two story home?
One.
One. You realize that there's people that would take an elevator one flight at a hotel, but then they have a two-story home and they'll take the stairs because it's no elevator.
Right.
But you would take the elevator at a hotel that and go one floor. Literally, you would take an elevator for one floor to walk up 6 steps, but then you have 12 steps in your house that you do every single day.
Mhm.
But you would take an elevator at the hotel. You would wait there for that to go 1 or 2 flights. That's it. But I have I think 12, maybe 12 or 16 steps at my house to go upstairs, and I don't use the elevator. So why don't I use the elevator to go up 16 flights at a hotel? No, I'm
Mhm.
not going to do it because it's there. No, but that's just my mindset. And I try to tell these kids like, we're going to change your mindset when you come to the bubble. I'm changing your mindset. Like we're not going to have that same mindset when you come in here. That we're going to change it. You're going to be tougher. You're going to learn how to deal with adversity. You're going to learn how to deal with tough situations. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you. At the end of the day, we're going to all look back 3 or 4 years from now. You're going to say thank you.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. But I'm going to really try to change your mindset and get you to look at things a totally different way. I'm not saying this approach works for everybody, but this is how I feel. And when you come train with me, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to work that mind. We're going to work the mental part of it. We're going to have fun doing it.
Mhm.
And when you have a bad day, you look bad today. You're horrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's black and white with me. There's no in between.
Mhm.
I don't. It's you suck today.
Yeah, I love it.
That's it.
I love
You
the
you bad. It was
realness.
horrible. You did bad
Mhm.
today. I'm not gonna lie. You were bad today. Or you know what? You were great. You were great or you were horrible. That's it. It ain't gonna be no in between. You're bad or you're horrible today. That's it. That's it.
Yes. Yes. No, I love the because you can't really like if you're sugarcoating or just you're just saying things just to make them feel good
hmm
or not make them feel bad, that's really a disservice.
hmm
Because they're now they have now their perspective is it's a little off. Like now what they're hearing, like if for the people to say for say and other and not to like for other coaches that maybe they do this maybe like if they try to not hurt their feelings for whatever reason, maybe them
hmm
growing up they their feelings got hurt, so maybe they try not to hurt other people's feelings, uh but now that's you're really not helping
hmm
them because they don't know that this was actually not a great workout or great
hmm
session. That but on the bright side, you have potential for more. That's really what you're saying.
Well,
Like
but I want parents to be parents. What I mean by that is that what changed in my relationship with my daughter was I was trying to be dad and coach.
mm,
When I just became dad, me and my daughter became closer. Where now I'm the one on the car drive home say, "Baby girl, that's okay. You don't worry about what that coach said. You did good." Like sometimes your kids just want you to be dad. So my point is,
mm.
let me be the
Oh,
the a hole. Let me be the bad person, so you could be
oh,
dad on the ride home. You say, you know what? I know Coach Reggie said you was horrible, but you know what? You did good. Don't worry about what he's because let me be the bad person.
mm.
But my point is,
There's a
there is a
place.
place. But my point is, I don't want people that are watching to think that I'm just killing his kids. Like, oh, he don't even. There's a fine line. But my point is, my kids get to the point where they're like, Coach Brown, did I do good today? Like, nope. And I leave it at that. Coach Brown, nope. But guess what? When they finally get that yes, it's the biggest smile in the world because they like, whoa, like I did it. Like I got that yes. Because I'm not going to just give you a yes. But when
Ooh,
they get it, they feel it now, and stuff like that.
ooh,
Now it's just like they just go. Now they keep on. Now they got it. But I'm not going to just say it.
ooh.
Now, to me, you be the mom on that drive home. Like,
Mm,
baby, don't worry. But let me be the bad person. I want to be the bad person. I want you to be mom. I want him to be dad. Let me be the bad person. So on
mm,
that drive home, you're like, you know what? I know Coach Reggie said, but then now you could just be dad. Let me. And when me and my daughter, because
mm.
when my daughter was hearing it from the coach, then I got in the car. She was hearing it from me. It's like, where's her safe place at? Like, dad gonna get on me. Coach gonna get on me. Everybody gets on me. But when she can now come to me and I could just be dad and give her that hug, "Hey, baby girl, you did good. Don't worry about that. I got you, coach." But hopefully that coach is, but I'm gonna be dad now. Let's go get our ice cream. That's,
Mm.
I know what coach said, but and let coach your kid. So I don't just give you a yes, but so
Mm.
when those kids get it though, you should see their smile. When they finally get they had a good workout from me, it's the biggest smile in the world and they're happy. But it's like they're running to prove to me, okay, today's gonna be the day. Nope, it wasn't a day. Nope. And I tell girls, these parents will tell you, these just little fourth grade girls, Coach Brown, I have a good workout today. Nope. It was bad. Like you wasn't good today. And you just saw that girl, Carson, when she finally got that yes, man, she had the biggest smile in the world. I said, "Go get you 4 popsicles. Now you had a great workout today." And now they really believe like it meant something now when they finally hear it the right way.
Mm.
But I'm not gonna just kill a kid, like just you no, there's ways to do it. But if you ask me at the end of the process, like, "Oh, you didn't have a good workout today." No, no, nope.
Mhm.
But when they finally get that thumbs up, man, it's like now they just keep going now. But it's a game I'm playing. But I'm looking at their parents. I'm like, they know that they did good, but I'm not gonna tell them
Mm.
they did good. Right now, it's too early for me to tell them they did good, but their parents know where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So like, no, I look at them, I think he did good, but I'm not gonna let them know that. But that your kid actually did real good today, but not yet. Not time for that
Mhm.
yet. I want them to continue to have that chip when they come in here right now.
Ooh.
That edge. I don't want them to feel like they got it yet. No, I might not tell them a year before they had a good workout. Nope, you're not gonna get got to earn this good workout from me. So, but the
Mhm.
parents know where I'm coming from.
Right,
hmm
right. Now, you mentioned you had a rule where the parents can't
hmm
speak during
Oh,
the
they'll tell
train
you.
out session. Do you have any other rules
No,
in
that's it.
your gym?
No, I just tell parents, y'all be quiet. I just tell parents, be quiet. Oh, I'll kick them out. They'll tell you. I have kicked out parents in my gym, and I have one of those little garage type doors and warehouses, and the parents kind of sit on a little bench. And there was one mom sitting out there was yelling. I just closed it right there in front of her. I just
What?
close it, and they tell you I don't play. Like I don't play. They don't. And it's funny when you see a new parent come and they start talking. The other parents are like, "Uh oh," and they know it's coming. They know it's coming. I'm like. Mm-mm-mm. This they know you should see the old parents' faces. They're funny, be like, "Okay." So, I don't just let me give me an hour and a half with your kid. I just want an hour and a
It
half.
makes sense.
That's it. I tell parents like, "Look, if I'm charging you 20 bucks an hour to train your kid, if you wanna talk, I will give you this gym for an hour. Just give me 20 bucks and I'll leave." I mean, if you wanna train your kid, you can use my gym for
Yes.
20 bucks to train your own kid, and I
Right,
can leave.
right.
And stuff like that. So these parents are starting to understand if you're going to trust me with your kid, trust me. If not, take them somewhere else. I don't want to
Yes.
train your kid. I don't want your kid looking at you every time they do something, they're looking at you. I don't want that. So just take your kid somewhere else. I don't
Mhm.
need this money. It's 20
Mm.
bucks. Whoop de doo. Like, I don't need it. And you're not going to with that 20 bucks at my gym, I don't even charge for my agility training. That's an hour. And I train you for an hour and a half in basketball. So you get 2.5 hours of training for 20 bucks. 2.5 hours for 20 bucks. Now, when I was doing it before I had my gym, it was free. I didn't even charge. And like I said, if you don't have the 20 bucks, I won't even care. There was this one story. This is a true story too. This one girl, she was coming to my trainings, and true story, she was like 10 minutes late one day. She goes, "Coach Reggie, I'm sorry for being late." I said, I'm like, "What was you late for? What you doing late?" Just kind of mess with. She goes, "Well, I have to go to the pawn shop." I said, "The pawn shop for what?" She goes, "To pay for your skills." I said, nope. I said, nah, don't you ever do that again. Ever since then, I'm like, you don't have to pay for ever again for a training. Like, but that shows why this girl went to a pawn shop to pawn her lamp to pay for training. Like crazy. And at that point, I'm like, and then when I put that on Facebook, when I mentioned the person's name, I had so many people just want to cash at me to just take care of this one kid. And I said, look, you don't ever have to worry about a training again, ever. Like, ever. And if you're that dedicated to want to be around me and want to come to my training, that you upon something to come to train with me, like, dude, like that means the world to me. Like, you would actually pawn something to be in my presence for an hour and a half. You don't ever have to pay for a training again as long as you live. So it's stuff like that to me is what it's all about. Just doing stuff like that, impacting kids' lives and doing it from the heart. And like I tell people, like I know sometimes like when you pay for something, you the kids are going to appreciate it more because the parents kind of they want to pay. They want to pay you. But I always tell parents, if you don't have it, dude, just still bring your kid. Like we'll figure it out. So but yeah, so there's good stories when you do stuff like that. Like I love the stories and able to share stuff with people. And Um, and like I said, just changed lives. And I'm just glad for that. Like I told you, that American Got Talent, when that person said my passion, I just wanted to follow my passion. And now, even though I've been offered college coaching jobs, but I feel that this is where I need to be right now. Is
Mm.
I still get phone calls to coach on a collegiate level, but I turn down good money to be around these kids.
Wow. Hats off.
Hmm.
Seriously, because not everybody does that. Like, I would say most people would not do that.
Hmm.
Um, and so that is admirable. Like, I like have even no words for that,
Hmm.
seriously, because you are truly changing people's lives. So that's awesome. But anyways, okay. So I want to get on to like Bubble. Bubble is the
The
name of
bubble,
your the
the bubble,
bubble.
the bubble.
How was that name
It was just, I think
created, or where
it
did that
was
come from?
it was during COVID when the NBA
Mm.
was playing. They called it the bubble, like because they couldn't play in front of crowds, so they had to go to Florida and play
Mm.
inside those arenas where they call it like they're in a bubble now because they have no fans. They're like in a bubble. So I just started calling my gym the bubble, and it kind of just stuck, and everybody just started calling it the bubble. When you gonna open up the bubble? Are we having training at the bubble today? Is the bubble training today? So we just stuck with it, and good shirts goes down at the bubble, and like it just the bubble just stuck, and everybody just likes that name, the bubble. So we just call it the bubble now, and
Perfect timing,
it
perfect
is. It just
everything.
everybody just like the bubble, and like it's pretty cool to see people wearing your shirts, knowing that they're part of the bubble, and people wanting shirts because they want to act like I train at the bubble. I train with Coach Reggie at the bubble and stuff like that. So it's cool to. I think the name just sticks now. It's like a small little gym, it's like a little bubble. So we enjoy it.
I love it. I love the story behind it
Hmm.
too, and it's all
It's
connected.
all connected.
It's all connected.
Hmm.
So, 2020 was such a eye opening for a lot of people, and then everything just kind of came to a complete stop, and now they have to be in their
Hmm.
homes, and you know, like being stuck with the people that their family, but now that's a whole thing to get used to. How was COVID time for you? I mean, I know already it was very defining. You opened your
Hmm.
your gym.
That's me thinking
So
different again. I've always did almost like what you're not supposed to do. Like I said, when I was little, I told you I ran the first base. When you're supposed to throw the ball to first base, that's just who I am. Like, who
Mm,
would open up a gym during COVID? Who would
mhm.
open up a gym where people are closing gyms? But I opened up a gym. Like, I just think differently, but it was the best thing for me. Because before the gym, like, again, like these kids had nowhere to go. And I was training kids in my culture act. I had all the kids in the neighborhood just training because they had nowhere to go. I know it was tough because with COVID and all that, but I checked their temperature back then. They sanitized everything. We was in my garage, and in the front, we was running, doing. I had the whole. It was free. I'll be on Facebook Live. If you want to bring your kid out here, we're going to
Ooh.
check temperature. I know these kids need to get out the house, but bring them to my house. We gonna work on this. But for me, I use it as a time just to train kids and enjoy it. And where everybody else was like, is it okay? I'm like, just bring them to the house. Like we're gonna be outside. We're gonna distance apart. We're gonna spray down all the stuff. We're gonna Lysol. We're gonna get this thing going. So I was training kids. I got video of me out there training kids, 20 kids, neighborhood kids, just people pulling up, just going through my workouts. And then that's when, I was like, I need to get a gym. 'Cause this is getting kind of crazy. And it just so happened that one came up, and I used that time while everybody else was closing stuff down. And the guy that I got the gym from, it was a baseball team, and he only could afford one of them because of COVID. So I was able to take over the other one. And again, I was training kids during COVID and just trying to take temperature and all that. So I used it as a
Mm,
different way. I
mm.
took advantage of it.
Took
Took
advantage of
advantage of it
it.
when nobody else could go to gyms. I mean, open my own gym because the kids can't get into gyms. Kids are not able to work out right now. Kids are at
Mhm.
home. So this is my opportunity to open up something where I could get kids out because they need to get out this house. They need to work. And as long as parents are okay, they signed a waiver and all that stuff. I had a COVID waiver and all that kind of stuff because we didn't know what really how you get it. It was just we didn't know. But I just tell you, look, your kid. If your kid's not feeling well, don't bring them. But we're going to do temperature check. We're going to Lysol everything down, and we're going to keep these kids active. And I'm glad that it seemed like everybody made it through. Nobody got sick, and we're all here to still talk about it. So, but I use it as an opportunity to train kids,
Mm.
and it worked out for the best for me. I don't think if COVID, to be honest, if COVID probably doesn't hit, I don't know if I would have opened up my own gym because I would have just probably continued to train outside at the school because I was training at Kennedale High School. But once COVID hit, everything was closed. You couldn't go to the schools no more. They wouldn't allow me to use the outside stuff because they wanted everybody away from the schools. So I would probably would have just kept training at the high school and not had my own facility and my
Mm.
own business and stuff like that. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, that is great because you used a moment of where everybody is running this way. You're
hmm
like,
I'm going, no, that's me though. I'm going to always try to look at things different. I've always looked at things different.
so how was your experience in Ireland? Let's go
It was
back.
fun.
Oh yeah.
It was fun. I mean, it was because you're their Michael Jordan's over there. Like you're their professional athletes.
Mm.
So like when you're in Ireland, they look at you as like, oh my God, that's is that Reggie? You know, you're walking down the street and like, oh my God, or if you're at McDonald's and you wipe your face with a napkin, they want to grab your napkin, because you're their NBA players over there. So that was real fun. And like, like they will give you a job like to work like at a Foot Locker because they just want you to sit there so it'll draw people in and
Mm.
you just getting paid just to sit at a Foot Locker out because all you do is basketball, the whole time. So what do you want to do the other time when you're there? So we'll like get a job at the mall at like a shoe store and they just want you to sit there so you can just people, oh my God, you have a lovely accent. Like, huh? Because our accent is different in Ireland. They think we talk real lovely. I'm like, my accent is lovely. Like, so it was cool. Like I enjoyed it. It was fun just playing professional basketball and just it was an experience that I would never ever forget. It was awesome.
How did that come knocking on your door?
When I left UT, I had an agent that was able to make some phone calls and got me overseas, and it was it was a good experience. I mean, I probably would have kept playing, but at that time, I was 40 hours short for my degree. I was like, "What was you doing in college to be 40 hours short?" So I'm sorry, I was 42 hours short of my degree, and I was like, "Man, I want to get my degree. Like, I don't want to, like I started college in '93 to '97. I went overseas 97, 98. I'm like, man, I don't want my tassel to say 00 on it. I want my tassel to at least say something with a 9 on it because I started school in
Mm.
93. I don't want my tassel to say 2000. That seemed so. I was like, well, let me go get my degree. So that's why I stopped playing basketball because I just wanted to get my degree. So I did 42 hours in 1 year. Yeah. I did 15, 15, and 12 in the summer. Yeah, I did
Wow.
42 hours in 1 year. But it was so easy just being a student. Like being a basketball player was tough to balance all that. But when I was just a student, I'm like, dude, it's easy being just a student. Like, have all this free time. I don't have to go to practice, treatment, study hall, community work. So 42 hours are kind of easy to do. But
Mm.
um, but I would have probably still continued to play it if I didn't have my degree. But I always like I'm gonna get this degree. Like I promised my mom I was gonna get this degree, and I figured the longer you're out, the harder it's gonna be to go back. So another decision I made is give up playing professional basketball to get a degree, and I'm glad I did because when I look at my body, like I tore one of my Achilles when I was 30. 10 years later, I tore another Achilles. I have a bad hip. So you know what? My career probably been done early. So I'm glad I had that degree where I could like, you know what? I'm good. Now I could fall back on my degree and I'm good. So I think it was a good decision that I stopped playing to get that paper. So but it
Mm.
was fun. I really enjoyed Ireland. It was an awesome experience.
What did you enjoy most?
The people, the fans, um, just probably I hated the weather because always rain in Ireland. But just the people and the fans, it was fun playing and, because every team only allowed 2 Americans, so it was kinda being cool, like, being that American on the team
Mm.
and stuff like that, and kids coming up to you wanting your autograph and all that kinda stuff, so it was fun, walking the streets and people, "Can't wait to see you today," "I'm ready for the game this weekend, y'all better win," and stuff like that, so it was fun.
Mm. Did you ever have like the butterflies or the jitters?
Oh, of course, yeah, you get
Yeah.
that, but once the ball goes up, you're good. If you don't have butterflies, then there's a problem, so it was fun, I mean, just being that person that they depend on every single day. And the thing about it, when you're an American over there, if you're not winning, if you're not scoring, they're going to get rid of you and bring in another American. So, but it was a great
Mm.
experience. I love my teammates. It was fun.
Do you still keep in
Yeah,
touch
through
with?
social media. There's a
Okay.
couple, maybe like 3 or 4 that we still talk through Facebook and stuff like that.
Wow, that's what about and any people you still do you still talk to anyone from like say your high school years?
Oh,
Not
yeah, I'm
necessarily
still
your
still do, still high school friends, still college friends, so I still keep up with all of my friends from high school and college and stuff like that. It's cool now that I'm training some of their kids now, at the
mm,
gym, so that's cool that I'm training my roommate's daughter now and stuff like that, that I was roommates and teammates with in college. I'm training his daughter now, so it's fun. Everything's kinda coming full circle and still just trying to continue to use this basketball um,
a
as a
vehicle.
yeah, vehicle to, help kids, go to school and get a chance to travel the world. And like I tell these kids, I go, man, you don't realize like this sport could take you so many different places and you could meet so many different people. And it's just traveling, staying in hotel rooms, playing cards and, just
Mm,
just awesome. Getting just food paid for and like just getting taken care of. It's just fun. You're just making memories and that's what it's all about. Just like even I tell these parents, when you pay for all your kids, AAU stuff or select stuff, I'm like, you're really just paying for the memories. Like you're paying for them to have memories. And that's what it's all about. When these kids look back, like, I remember when like Alexis could sit there and say, I remember we went to Michigan and we went to Iowa. And it's like you're paying for memories. That's what I look at it. Like, I'm not looking at it like I'm just spending money. Oh my God, this costs $4,000 to, well, my daughter is getting memories with this $4,000 of playing select soccer. She's get to, travel and
mm,
all this. Like the youngest one, we're going to San Diego, like I said, on Thursday for soccer. Yes, it's expensive, but this is memories for her. She's going to Sweden and Norway this summer for soccer. This is memory. So I'm gonna look at it as just spending money. Look at that my kids are getting the opportunity to create memories, and that's what it's all about.
it's like the money comes and goes,
Yeah, it's the memories.
but the time they're in, the memories
That's
that they're
it.
building now,
Yes.
they're just not gonna come
No,
back.
that's what I remember the most about my college days is the road trips. Traveling with your teammates.
Mm,
That was fun. We don't like home games. We like road games. It was just fun riding the bus and get on the airplanes and stuff like that. But it's cool that, now I'm able to use, like I said, all my experience and now giving
mm,
back to this next generation. And that's why the bubble has been big for me. That's why I enjoy it. It's my safe place. It's 4 hours out of the day where I could just put everything aside and it's therapy for me. It's therapeutic for me when I'm
mm.
training kids.
I see. Where like if it well, if you were to say change something in the education system in regards to like the way athletes are being coached, what is like one thing that you would change?
Hmm. I mean, that's a good question, but I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. I don't know if I would change. I don't know. I think
Say
I mean,
even like not even in the college level. Say even like the junior high,
mhm.
high school
It's just.
levels.
I mean, I think when you come to the junior high, like you're not. A lot of times you don't get sport specific coaches. You might have, like, for example, when I was coaching at Bowie, my second sport was softball. Like that's not fair to the girls that they got a basketball coach coaching softball. So sometimes I wish they would just hire sports specific for the sports. Like you shouldn't have a basketball coach coaching receivers in junior high because they don't have a lot of coaches because of the money. So like if you're coaching, if I played college basketball and I decide I want to coach a junior high, I have to coach track. I have to also coach football, but I'm a basketball coach. So that's not fair to those kids that they're getting a basketball coach as their receivers coach. Or those girls
Mm,
at Bowie got a basketball coach as their softball coach. Like that's not fair. You need to get a softball coach to coach softball. Get a wrestling coach to coach
mm,
wrestling. Get a basketball coach. There's a football coach in high school that might be coaching JV basketball. Like that's not fair. So to me, I think that it'd be nice if you just had sport specific coaches coaching their main sport. But I also understand it's a money thing and you have to just tell that coach, well, you better learn softball, and do the best you can. But that's not fair to the kids. But I understand because of the budgets and the financial part of it, they can't hire um,
those.
those specific coaches. So you got to learn different sports and all that. But it would be nice if these kids could all be taught the sport by a coach that this is what they passion is and not something that like I never played softball in my life. That was my second sport. Made no
Mm.
sense. That's not fair to
Hmm.
the kids. But
That's a good point.
hmm
That's a great point. Um, yeah, because then if that particular coach is not very passionate about what they're coaching,
hmm
then it's going to trickle down. And at the end of the day, it's same result, right? The student's not going to get
hmm
the best
yeah,
possible
yeah,
advice
it's like
or
having an English teacher teach math. I mean, like really, like I,
yeah.
you want me to teach math? I don't. Okay, what is this? I mean, and you're just trying to figure out as we go. But that's not fair to
Hmm.
that kid. So that's probably the only thing I would say would be something good if you had sport specific coaching that particular sport and not having these coaches coach so many different sports that that's not what they even know. Like right now, literally, you might see right now a job opening and it might say head track coach, but basketball assistant. Well, most likely that head coach ran track in college and don't know anything about basketball, but that's his second sport.
Hmm.
And okay, well, we'll figure out. And now this kid that loves basketball, that wants to be great, has this track coach coaching him in basketball now, which he might be in great shape and could run all day, but can't shoot because it's just what it is. So that's probably one thing, but we understand it is a budget and you have to do what you have to do. Mhm.
Right, right. Where do you plan on taking the bubble?
The bubble. I don't know. Like people ask me, do I want to grow it? But I think the difference between my workouts is that I didn't want to be one of these people where you feel like if you make it bigger, you're gonna start having more kids. Then now your coach to kid ratio becomes one coach for every 20 kids. But I never wanted that. I wanted it to be more intimate where you're getting more of that one-on-one training. I don't want to train more than 5 or 6 kids at one time. That's to me what separates me from a
Mm,
lot of the other trainers where some people just do it for the money. They just want to get a bunch of kids and just train, which I don't want that. Like I want to keep it where it's more one to one. So I don't know if I want to just I like where it is right now. I mean, and um it's perfect for me. And again, it's not my main job, so I don't need to grow it. I just, there's moments where I do hate where I've sometimes maybe have to turn away a kid because I don't want my ratio to be more than what it is because it's not fair to the other kids that I'm training. Like if I add another kid now, it's one coach for every 12 kids. Now they're not getting enough reps in and it's not
for
fair
the
to everybody, the
attention.
attention. So unless I could, find coaches that are and it's hard to find people that are like you. Like you could sit there and say, hey, I want to have another person work with me. But if they don't have the same vibe as you, it's not going to go well. You have to it's
Mm,
hard to find people just like yourself when you're passionate about something and it's hard. So sometimes you just rather do it by yourself and it might mean I can't like grab everybody, but I think it's best for the people I'm able to grab and stuff like that because it wouldn't be fair if I grabbed you anyway, um, because I wouldn't be able to give you that attention. So it might be, and I'm okay with trying to recommend you to somebody else. Like I'm okay. It's all about we all in this together, and stuff like that. But it's hard to find people that have the same passion as you. So it's hard to bring on help because you just feel like, oh, they don't have the same love and passion that I have. So it's not going to work.
have you considered it?
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
I had somebody that it just didn't work. Like I'm like, man, they're not the same as me, and they don't have that same passion. They'd rather go laugh and talk to the parents while I'm out here. Like I tried it for like maybe a week or two, and like, no, I'm doing this by myself. It's better than doing by yourself. So because
Mm,
it's I just have a different look on things, a different mindset, and this is like, man, Rich, how can we get more numbers in? Because I don't want to talk money. It's not about money to me. That's what they want to come with. Like, man, Reg, if we do this and do this, like, nah, I'm not about that. Like, I'm good with the small numbers and we're good. And people ask me, Reg, you should charge more. Like, no, I don't want to charge more. Reg, you have 13 years of Division One experience, and there's people that's charging $65 an hour, $75 an hour. You're only charging 20. Like, well, that's just me. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So,
yeah, yeah. That I can completely see the reason why you do things, which I can see definitely why the success was just almost
hmm
instant for you because I mean you're coming from the heart, the intention
hmm
is there. Um, I but at the same time, I wonder. I know you had an experience
hmm
where it was not great, but would you be open to have somebody else that can kind of
Oh
come
yeah,
under your wing and
if they're in it the same reason I'm in it for, like understand like it's
mhm.
not about the money. Like we're not doing this for the money. Like, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And like, I'm just thankful that I could pay my rent at the gym every month. If I could break even, I'm good. As long as I'm breaking even,
Mhm.
I'm happy. Like, my rent is $1,600 a month, which is not that bad. But if I break even, I'm happy. Like, we're good because I'm not in it for the money. As long as I break even, I'm great and stuff like that. So, if somebody want to come along and they have a passion and about kids and want to see kids, and it's fun. Like when I think when I started, I think there was maybe, I sent my first group to college because I got them when they was like maybe a sophomore or junior. And it was so cool on signing day when they wanted me to be there because they feel like I had a part in their success. So that's like the coolest day is when these kids are signing with colleges and their parents reach out to you and was like, hey, can you come to our kid's signing party? This one kid used to come all the way from Tyler to train with me. Tyler, he was coming on on a Wednesday and Sunday to train. That's a 2 hour drive. He'd come on a school night on a Wednesday. So trained this kid, and his mom reached out to me this year for his, he graduated from up there in Tyler, and said, "Could you come be the first surprise graduation party?" Like, how can I not? Like, this kid was traveling way out here. I'm sure I'm going to do it. So when I got there, the kid was like so surprised when he saw me. Like, he was like, but that's what it's all about. Like, I love that kind of stuff. But to know that these people want me to be part of this special occasion, it's fun. Like, that's what
Priceless.
it's all about. So I love when people say, Coach Brown, can you come to my signing day? Or Coach Brown, can you come to my, graduation and stuff like that? And it's cool. So I'm glad that I'm starting to get those kids now since I've been doing it long enough where now kids are going to college now and I'm able to go watch them play and know that they came through the bubble. So that's pretty cool. And when they come through the bubble, they get their banner, hung up at the bubble. So anybody that I coached and trained that's in college, they get their banner, hanging up in the bubble. So it's good to starting to see all these kids now
Oh,
that I got a kid. My daughter, of course, runs at Baylor. Kendall runs track at Arkansas Little Rock. Fifi ran track at Stetson. Ishmael is going to be playing football at Nebraska. Ken is playing basketball at Oklahoma State. Trey is played at UTA. So I'm starting to get like, it's pretty cool to know that's all these kids at some point, train at the bubble. So it's pretty cool to see these kids now in college and the bubble played a small part of their life. So it's pretty cool.
that's
Hmm.
that's so cool. That's that it's cool that they get the banner
Oh, yeah.
at at your gym. And really interesting too. One thing, I don't know if I pointed it out earlier, but at the bubble, it's like you you know you have no AC.
No AC.
It's cold.
Yeah,
You got no
no heater. We
heater.
bringing a gas heater, but we got yeah, nothing.
And here you are building leaders,
Right. It,
and it's like the mental toughness. I train. It's funny because I train jujitsu,
hmm
and I'll like coach always is talking about how a lot of the grown men are always complaining
hmm
about if we have to do bear crawls. People are complaining, why do we have to do bear crawls or whatever it is, right? And one of the things he pointed out, but we do have AC in
hmm
there, right? And he it's one of the things he points out is like he's like there is people in like different parts of the
hmm
country where right in here we have like the softest mats like
hmm
there is in the market, and people in other places are rolling in like outside
hmm
like in concrete
Right.
in the heat, and like there's no AC, no heater, no soft padding, and they're over there getting it done, having fun. And then we have over here people that are complaining about doing bear crawls,
hmm
something like that. So it was I was thinking about that as you were saying that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's so true, but yet and it's but and you stick true to that. You're like, well, you want to train here, doesn't matter, no AC,
No
this is
AC.
this is how it's gonna go.
This is how it's gonna be.
It's
I
part of
provide
the
part
training.
of the train. I provide water. I keep water there for the kids and popsicles. But where, like I told them, like this is. I mean, there's times where you might play in a gym that might be hot. The floor's not gonna be perfect, but I know there could be people that could use that against me. Like, oh, why you want to go train the bubble, man? I got the state of the art facility over here. We have wood floors, and it's okay. That's great, but
They
the
don't
bubble. I
understand.
like this that the bubble's not for everybody, but I like the old school mentality. And I like the kids that like, I'm like, man, if I had this bubble when I was growing up, like this would be awesome. Like there's no sun beating down. It's hot in here, but it's different than
Mm.
like having being outside. But this is I love it. And it's funny because the parents will all be sitting in their car in the air conditioning. I'm over here sweating. I love it, and stuff like that. But these kids, they leave out of that workout though, they feel good because they're drenched. And I think they feel good when they leave out of them. They're just soaked and stuff like that. So, but it teaches them toughness. It's not for everybody, and I don't want it to be for everybody.
Mm.
I want it to be for people that want to
That
be
really
different, that
want it.
really want it. The bubble is not for everybody. We don't have the wooden floors. We don't have the all this, but man, we're gonna get a great workout in and
We're
we're
gonna
gonna have
learn.
fun doing it. We're gonna learn and we're gonna challenge you mentally and that is cheap, but you're getting great work. I mean, and stuff like that. So I just think we have a different edge when you come through the bubble because you're gonna get stuff that you're not gonna get nowhere else. I mean, and I think it's gonna make you tough. You have no choice but to be tough by practicing
Mhm.
100 degrees, and the fans are just blowing hot air, and stuff like that. It just, but the kids, but I'm like, man, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all ain't nobody training like this in Texas, man. We putting in work right now. This ain't no air conditioning, man. We getting tough right now. That's kind of like trying to get them pumped up. Like, man, this ain't for everybody, y'all. Y'all are special. This ain't for everybody, and stuff like that. Just trying to find a way to.
And it's
It's
true,
true.
it is true. And, you kind of mentioned it, and it's same idea, I guess, earlier when you were saying, when you came back to finish your
Hmm.
degree, it was
It
easy.
was easy.
It was because it was a lot harder before, or you had to put a lot more time
Hmm.
or work before. So at that point, getting 42 hours of college work in to finish your degree in a year, it was nothing. Like
Nothing.
that's
I could have graduated in 3 years. The way if I was just a student, because I did 42 in one year. I think it's like 128 to graduate. So I mean, I did what 42 in one year. I mean, so if I would have just knocked it out, I could have graduated in 3 years. If I was just a regular student, literally, I mean, it was easy.
right.
But I mean, but yeah. So it just to me, it's a good way to like you said, because there's people that are in places that they will love the bubble. They would think this is the state of the art in some cultures. Like you
Mhm.
just said, there's people that would think that, you know, well, y'all places big time, but like they think the bubble. If I go get some kids from, third world countries and stuff like that, they're like, man, this is awesome. Like this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. This is, man, we could get good in this gym. This is awesome. I mean, you have a inside toilet and you have a refrigerator with water and it's hot, but man, this is awesome. Like they were like, this is great. So um, I just try to again reverse things and try to play with their mind again. Like, dude, this ain't for everybody. Like, man, when y'all now, like you said, now when you finally get in air conditioning, y'all gonna feel good after being in
Mhm.
here. Then now you go on a real court,
You're gonna fly.
man. Y'all gonna be like, okay, if I can handle the ball on this surface, man, imagine when I get on the wood. Whenever, like, so I think you could use it as a positive. And but again, I tell people the bubble is not for everybody. Like, you got to be mentally tough, and hopefully, parents are parents from the old school generation that gets it because they know I'm an old school type coach. And if you're that new generation type parent, I might not be the one for you because I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I want to be real, positive, and if you want the real answer, I'm gonna be real with you. If you say Reggie right now, is my kid a Division 1 player? I'm like, no, he's probably a D3 player, in my opinion. Now it's just my opinion, but I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. If you say, Reggie, man, my kid had a bad workout. No, he actually had a great workout. So in my opinion. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna be real and honest. And I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I can't sit here and lie. I gotta tell you what I feel at this moment. Now, does he have potential to be a Division 1 player if he can continue to work and do this and that? But right now, no, he's not there yet, in my opinion. But, you know, it's just my opinion. It's
Mhm.
not a fact. It's just, like I tell people, I think, what did I say? Like, you know, work so hard that somebody's opinion becomes a fact or something like that. But it's like, you know, I'm gonna if I said Alexis, in my opinion, you could be the greatest. Let's turn that opinion to a fact. Like we're gonna make that a fact. Like let's, I always tell my kids, let's work so hard that your signature becomes an autograph. Like it's
Ooh.
just not a signature; it's autograph now because we want to be special. Like
Mm.
because right now you write your name on a piece of paper, it's just nothing. But we want to work so hard that now it's autograph now. So that's kind of how we. I tell you, you're gonna work so hard that your signature becomes an autograph. That's kind of how we look at things. And I know growing up, our dad just always say, shoot for the moon. because if you come up short, you'll still be amongst the stars. So that was the way we look at things. Let's shoot high. Let's say I'm going to be a millionaire. So guess what? If I come up short and I'm making $100,000 a year, that's still great. I mean, if like I told people, I might not have the biggest house on the street, but then I'm gonna have a house on that street. I
Mm.
might not have a Lexus, but then I might have an Expedition. I'm gonna have something. I might, but I just always felt like we gonna shoot high. So if we come up short, we're still good. We're still
Mhm.
good if we come up short. So my dad always said, let's shoot for the moon. If you come up short, you're gonna still be amongst the stars. So we shot high, and if we do come up short, we still good. And stuff like that. So, but I'm not gonna say I'm gonna make $20,000 a year. No, then if I come up short, that means I'm making 5 a year. No, we're gonna make 1,000,000 a year. So if I come up short and I'm making 200,000 a year, that is still good money. So we shoot high,
Mhm.
but that's just what I tell these kids. We're gonna go for it, but you have to take everything I say, and understand like we're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right now, but we have to be realistic. Everybody's not
Mhm.
Division One. Everybody's not Division Two. But there's so many different levels to be successful. You don't have to be a Division One player. As long as you go in college, extending your career, I'm glad. If it's an NIA school, a junior college, a JUCO, whatever it is, let's find the right fit for you, and let's go from there. But let's just try to get this school paid for. Let's get this education, and let's see what happens. But I'm going to be real and honest. It might hurt your feelings, but I'm just going to just go from what I know, and if you don't believe me, I could take your film, send it to one of my homeboys that's coaching, and they could come back and tell you the same thing. No, Reggie ain't good enough. But I'm gonna be real with you. But if not, prove me
Mhm.
wrong. It's just an opinion right now.
Mhm.
Just prove me wrong. So
Yeah, I love that thought that putting things into like the perspective, even like make your signature to become an autograph.
hmm
Because it really does change the perspective where it takes it a step forward, and it's like, yeah, we're shooting
hmm
a little higher.
yeah.
Um, for parents, like what based on like your experience with working with kids and interacting with parents, what would you say one of the biggest challenges is, or what would you what advice uh well, first, the challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges you see, even not necessarily directed with you,
mhm.
like, but maybe from what you can tell with the parent and the kid?
I think parents these days don't allow their kids to fight for anything no more. They
Mm.
want the easy way. Like if you look at right now, when you think about the NCAA, they have a thing called the transfer portal. And it's like if you're not happy, you can just transfer now. If you're not happy, you transfer. Same with select basketball. If a kid is not playing, they go to another team. They go to another team. It's never the kid's fault. It's always the coach's fault. And sometimes you have to it's look at the person in the mirror. It's not everybody's fault, but I think now we're in this generation where we grew up, it was like, no, you're not transferring. You're gonna fight for that starting position. It's more like, no, you just can't leave. You're gonna fight for this position. And now I think we're just in this generation where things are always given, as they talk about like the participation trophy and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. Like everything is just given to you now, and nobody has to fight for anything no more. And I remember when I didn't start, you know, I'm like, I'm not going to transfer. I'm about to work harder this summer, and I'm going to come back next year, and I'm going to prove to you, coach, you made the mistake. But now it's
Mm.
like, I'm just going to transfer. I'm just going to transfer. I'm going to transfer. So, and I think it starts now with, you know, AAU basketball. It starts real young. It starts even in 7-year olds. Could be on a soccer team and they're not playing and they ready to go to another soccer team. I
Mhm.
don't see people fight no more. And that's what gets me is like, we're gonna fight. If you told me right now my daughter is playing select soccer right now for the Dallas Texans, if the coach told me that my daughter was not going to start, I'm like, okay, what she got to do to get better? We're
Mhm.
going, all right, Audie, but we're not going to go to this other team. You're going to fight for it. So I just don't like just a lot of times that parents just take the easy way out and they don't allow their kid to go earn it, go fight for it. Now, if the coach has something against your kid and it's something personal, then that's something totally different. But if it's just because of your kid's not working hard enough and blah blah blah, you just want to leave, then that's fine. I mean, that's not cool. Fight for it. Now I understand that there could be different fits where okay, this style might not fit me, and I learned now after being here, it's a totally different style, and it maybe doesn't fit my kid. My kid is playing a lot of minutes, but just style just doesn't fit. I understand that, but if it's about because coach or I'm a kid, no, I'll fight for it. So I just don't like that kids now these days, parents allow their kids just to get up and leave, leave, leave. You see kids now play for 5 or 6 or 7 AAU teams, 3 or 4 different
Mm.
colleges now. I mean, it's just crazy. What are you really teaching them? So I don't like that part of sports right now where parents are just allowing kids just to get up and go and not fight for anything no more, especially at 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, really? Let them compete. Let's
Mhm.
compete like we did back in the day. Let's compete.
Mhm. Have you ever considered like in some sense like, you know, coaching adults? Yeah, whether like more so like in it kind of ties into the other question of like having a team or having
Mhm.
somebody that can help, help you maybe help coach other kids, but has that thought ever came into your
As
mind?
far as, like, talking to parents, to coaching parents, I
Yeah.
mean, I will, like, every once in a while, like, there's coaches that might invite me to speak to their parents, like, in high school, where I could kinda go out there and, at the
Mhm.
beginning of the year, educate these parents on how we, as college coaches, evaluate you as a parent. Sometimes you might
Mhm.
wanna know why your kid is not getting recruited by this certain school. It might be because of the way you act during games. I remember when I was coaching, you know, in college, we looked at parents. We evaluate parents. If we see a parent always yelling at the coach, blah, 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 well, why we want to sign this kid or we have to deal with this parent for 4 years just like this? So we evaluate parents. We coaching, college basketball, and stuff like that. So sometimes parents are hurting their own kids getting recruited because we don't want to deal with that parent. Parent is crazy. Now, if you're just a special athlete like a LeBron James or somebody, okay, we might deal with your parent then. But for the most part, those players are rare. So as a parent, sometimes like we're evaluating you guys. We're seeing the way you guys are conducting yourself at basketball games. And if you're acting crazy or you're getting a reputation of being a crazy parent, we're not gonna recruit your kid. And we as coaches, we talk like, man, Reg, you don't want to recruit that kid, man. His dad crazy. Man, his mom always complain, always, no, you don't want it. So parents don't understand sometimes how they're um, hurting their own kids' recruitment because of the way that they're behaving at these events or the reputation they're getting from coaches about being, you know, that parent. And then also, if I'm recruiting your kid and I see that your kid played on 5 or 6 or 7 different AAU teams, is that not a red flag for me that if you come to my school, most likely you might going to transfer? Because you seem like you have a pattern of always leaving. So what makes me think that if you come here, you're not going to leave after a year? So parents don't realize they're hurting their kids. So that I'm glad I could sometime educate these parents because I've coached on every level. I coached high school, I coached junior high, I coached collegiate basketball. So I can sit there and tell you what it looks like on every level. But of course, the main goal for these kids from the parents for them to go to college, and I'm sitting there telling you this is what we look for as college coaches. And if it's even where this kid is good, this kid isn't, it's gonna okay, what is the separation? Man, these parents are actually good parents right here. That might be the difference in us signing that kid instead of that kid
Mm.
is their parents. So, so I do like to go educate parents on certain things. Some listen, some don't. But they have no idea how we are also evaluating your parent and how they act during these sporting events. And that plays a significant part on us recruiting your kid to the next level.
Oh,
hmm
oh, that's great insider information there for
hmm
parents,
It
and
is.
even just to take a moment to even okay, how am I being
We're
as a
watching you.
parent,
We're
right?
watching you. We see you at the games, and we're looking at you too. And if,
Hmm.
like, I remember when I was coaching at UT Arlington, our coach said, if you're going to recruit a kid from Arlington, like, make sure he could play because if not, you have to deal with their parent every single day, and stuff like that. So it's just what it is, especially if you're one of those parents. Like you already see them the way you're getting already insight from the coach at so and so school that man, this parent is crazy. They always want to have a parent teacher meeting. Well, it's not
Mm.
going to change when they go to college. If they're not playing, now they're local. They're going to be one to knock on your door. So you know what? We just recruit a kid from Chicago then because we're not going to deal with this parent out here locally because they're crazy. So we're going
Mm.
to go get a kid somewhere else. And they never understood why we might be recruiting kids from other states because we have to deal with their parents every day. hmm
Which level did you enjoy coaching the most, and why?
College.
Aside from your personal
Yeah,
gym,
college. Because
college.
I told people the reason why I got out of coaching high school was I started enjoying practices more than games. because I
Mm.
didn't have to deal with parents. There's times in
Mm.
high school we might have won a game by 30 points, and you got parents want to talk to you. Why did my kid play? What's going on? Blah blah blah. It's like you have to deal with parents too much in high school, so it was a headache. And it's like, what is your kid going to tell you when you ask them how was practice good? How's practice good? It was good. So then now that parent thinks that their kid and had 5 great practices, why they're not playing. So do you think as a coach, I'm not going to play your kid because he had great practices and I don't want to win? Like, there's a reason why your kid didn't play. Did your kid tell you that he me in practice? Did your kid tell you that he was late? Did your kid tell you that he talked back to his teacher? Did your kid tell you that he got the ball stolen from him 5 times this week in practice? Did your kid tell you that he couldn't make a shot today or this whole week? Did he tell you all that? Or did he come home and say, I had a great workout, I did good, I did good? And you're basing your decision on what he told you. And do you think I'm just going to just sit here and not play your kid because he's that good? Like, really? And parents just don't understand, like, and like, you hear this so much as a coach, like, it's so crazy that you can come to our job and tell us what to do, but we can't come to your job and tell you what to do. Like, I hate that about coaching. You can come to my work and tell me exactly what I have to do, but I can't come tell you you didn't do that good enough. So, but I enjoyed college because you didn't have to deal with parents.
Mm.
And it's crazy that you're losing a lot of good coaches on the high school level sometimes because they don't want to deal with parents.
Mhm.
And it's just, you hear a lot of coaches just say, man, I don't want to deal with parents no more. It's the parents that is running good coaches, out of coaching because we don't want to deal with this, why, and stuff like that. So coaching collegiate was a lot better because, you don't have to deal with parents. Kids are a little bit older now, and it was just fun. And the games were fun now. But in high school, I used to love practice, hate games.
Mm. And every parent, of course, thinks that their kid is amongst the best,
Hmm.
and or if not, they at least deserve playing time
Hmm.
because they're showing up to practice,
Hmm.
and so they deserve. It's kind of like that last place trophy kind
Hmm.
of mindset, I would say.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to hear, how it impacts really the whole team because in the coach, I mean, you made a great point. Like, well, you're not the coach.
Hmm.
Like, you're not, you know, y-
You're not
like
at every practice. You don't know
you're
what
not
we see.
right, right. So, that I'll definitely keep that in mind. Not that I would think I'm the. I mean, I have a daughter.
Hmm.
She's 1 year old.
Okay.
But it's even. I don't think I would consider myself somebody. A parent like that, but now knowing that, I'll definitely
You
keep
don't.
that in mind. You
When
know
it's
what
your
I
kid, you
mean?
never know. I mean, like, it was
You never
crazy
know.
because my dad. It was almost like karma because my dad was crazy. He's one of those crazy parents.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was one of those crazy parents, and I said, Dad, like, you gave me your karma because now the way you used to talk about coaches, I'm getting talked about now as a coach and stuff like that. But he was one of those parents. And for me, being a coach, I'm not one of those parents because I know what it's like being a coach.
Mm,
So I just sit back. I don't say nothing during games. Don't say a word. I'm so quiet. You don't know if I'm happy at my daughter. I don't say a word during games.
mm,
Rarely say anything. Don't say nothing. I never speak to the coaches during games. Don't talk about it. And then if my daughter is not playing, I'm just, hey coach, what is it? To me, it's how you talk to these coaches. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to say, coach, what is it that my daughter needs to work on in order to play? What does she have to work on? I'm
mm,
going to let the coach tell me, okay, what does she have to work on? Like, it's how you talk to them. So I'm not going to just come at them and say, I'm going to like, hey, what does Audie have to do to get more playing time for you? And so I could make sure I could get her the right attention and the right people in her life to get her to that point, and stuff like that. So, but I've never been one of those. I keep to myself. I let coaches coach because I've been in a position, and it's not an easy job. And it's even worse when, like, imagine your daughter when she's about 4 or 5. You guys are gonna put her in soccer because that's the first sport they play. And then it's gonna be a parent that's volunteering, and you had the opportunity to volunteer, but then you want to yell at this coach. Like, okay, well, why didn't y'all volunteer then? It's like, and it's even worse. Like when they're like fifth or sixth, like, dude, nobody else wanted to do it. And then you're mad at me now. Like, really? Like, well, you had the same opportunity as me, but it's crazy when you see like parents yelling at 5 and 6 year olds and coaches, and it's ridiculous. Like, it's not fun. So I just
mm,
learned to just sit back and, as a parent, just do your research and just try to find the right person for your kids so you can just sit back and be a parent. Like, be a parent. Don't be a coach, be a parent. And I'm telling you, my daughter would tell you our relationship was like, we're like the best because I became dad and she loved when I was just dad, not coach. I
Mm.
was dad. And I learned a lot from my second daughter. Like my first daughter says, Dad, you're easier with Audie than you was with me. I'm like, well, I was learning from you. It was a learning experience. Like it was, I learned from you. Like, but don't get it twisted. We got you to Florida, but I probably should. I could have taken another way. I probably could have been a little bit easier and got you to Florida, but I didn't know anyway. I just knew this one way. But you was a learning experience. You was my first kid. I don't. It was. I had to learn on the run. I mean, it's different when it's your own. But Audie, I said, you know what? I probably could still get the same results by doing it a different way. And you learn that as you get older and stuff like that. But I didn't know. I just went full all throttle with Alex, and with Audie, I'm a little bit more reserved. And also, Lex was more of an individual sport. So it was all of you. In soccer, I can't really just put everything on Audie because she has other teammates around her that maybe can't get her the ball or whatever. But with you, Lex, it was you. It was just you. So if you
Mhm.
got beat, you got beat. Because track is different. It's
Mhm.
like people say, track is not a sport. You can't play track. You play sports, you can't play track. It's different. So I was real hard on my first one, but I learned as a parent and I made mistakes. And I tell her that, Dad, I made my mistakes with you, but if you have another child, you're gonna learn so much after your first one that, yeah, I know more about this second one that I could do a little bit easier. And the second one's gonna be like, your oldest gonna be like, Mom, why didn't y'all do this with her? Or why is it? I learned,
Mhm.
trust me. So, um,
I can see that,
mhm,
especially like when you were, when I was making the comment about like pushing the kids, and then
mhm,
you mentioned like there's a place, right? Like let
mhm,
the coach be the a-hole,
mhm.
and then you go on and be a
Be the
parent.
parent. It's the best feeling in the world. I'm telling you, when
Hmm.
you could just be, you don't understand. Like I said, imagine your daughter, you're having a daughter, right? Your daughter is playing sports, and you guys are those parents like, oh, when we get in this car ride, oh, I can't wait to get in this car ride. We're going, and then I hear from their coach saying you suck. Now your parents are telling, like, where do they go now? They have no outlet.
Yeah,
Like they can't even go to their own mom and dad
makes
to
sense.
to get a like, man, it's like, and you wonder why now when you think about mental issues we're having and kids are now committing suicide. Mental health is real. And these kids don't have that outlet no more
Yeah. Ooh.
because everybody is always, So that's why
Mhm.
I'm dad. Like, I'm dad. Like, I tell my daughter, look, if it ever got to that point, let it go. It ain't that serious. It's not that serious. Like, if you got to the point where you contemplating your life over a sport, dude, let it go. Like, it's not that serious, but it's because these kids sometimes if they go to my dad, he gonna get on me. Mom getting on me, coach getting on me. Like, where can I go for just that peace of mind? And I became dad, and my daughter would sit here and tell you that's when our relationship became like best friends when I was dad. Cause now she was scared to come to me after a track meet. Cause she like, man, dad gonna get on me. He gonna tell me I sucked. And when she was able to come to me like, hey, baby girl, you did good. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get it. We're gonna fix it this week. We're gonna get at it this week and we gonna fix that. Now she enjoys coming to me
Mm.
after track meets because she know dad gonna be like, we got this. We're gonna get back at it next week. We got this. So like she's mad if I'm not at her track meets. Dad, are you coming down to our track meet? Dad, you gonna be here, Dad? Because she know it's dad now, not coach, it's dad. So
I
it's
love
fun when
that.
you could just say as a parent, we gonna get it. I'm gonna get you a new. If I got to get you a new trainer next week, we gonna find somebody different. But don't worry about the baby girl. You did good. Blah 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 blah. And then now, every once in a while, yeah, I talk sports to her. Like she might say, "Dad, what do you think I need to do? You got out bad on your starts, but it ain't nothing you can't fix now." Instead of being like, "Man, you sucked today. That was horrible. That's bull crap." And these kids already know these days. They already know they did bad. So why they got to hear it again? And so it's the mental part, and I don't know if you've ever had a mental person on your show that talks about the mental part of sports and how it's becoming a big issue. But that'd be a very topic that I would love to hear because the mental part of dealing with athletes with a mental state, not just athletes, anybody. The mental part is crazy. You're hearing so many different stories about people taking their life because of the mental part, and it's real. And you
Yeah.
can't see mental. That's what's hard. You can't see
Right,
it.
right, and yeah, I believe like suicide is all time high
Hmm.
right now for teenagers. right now, and we touch the subject, I would say almost, if not all, podcasts of
Hmm.
like mental health, regardless of who's sitting on the chair, what career path, whether their business or they're in education or they're in sports. I have not actually had an expert though.
Hmm.
I do have someone in mind that might be coming on the show soon that they work directly with they with people that need help, like, but at this point, like, they're professionals, right? So it's interesting
Yeah, as a youth, it's tough.
capturing
Like I would love
the
to, yeah,
youth,
the youth part because
right?
it's scary.
Mm,
It's scary with the mental part of sports, and the hard part is that, and that's why I keep telling you, like I try to really challenge the mental part with these kids
yeah.
because that's the part that again we're lacking because everybody just finds another easy way to get out of it, and you're not mentally tough to deal with. I'm not playing, or because you're not raised that way to fight through it. You're raised to move on and quit. And the hard part about mental is you can't see it. So people think it's an excuse. If you got a broken foot, and it's a broken foot, and it's, yeah, it's broke. But if you say, "Oh, I'm just not into mental," like that's an excuse. Whatever. I don't want to hear that. Toughen up. But it's
Mhm.
not. It's different now. Mental stuff is for real these days, and people don't believe it. You
Don't
got people
believe
that
it.
still think it's an excuse. If
Mm.
they get beat, oh, I'm just mentally. Oh, that's an excuse. The next thing you know, you hear about that person killed herself now because you thought there was an excuse, but they really needed help. I remember that gymnastics person that was getting it bad because they said she was in the air and she was had the twisties, whatever, and she couldn't. She's one of the best gymnasts in the world, and she just said mentally, she just started getting in the air and it started getting scared that she's gonna, and so she was mentally messed up. But people was like, no, she's just losing it. It's not mental. It's just an excuse because she couldn't
Mm.
stick her landing. That's an excuse because you can't see mental. But it's real, and I had a daughter that, like I said, that went through it, and it's serious. Being an athlete, it's tough mentally. When you go to these schools like a Florida and you're not competing or you feel like you're not scoring or doing what you need to do, it's tough because you feel like, man, they don't want me no more, and
Mhm.
it's now you're dealing with the mental part of it, and now you're 19 years old trying to figure it out, and you're dealing with something that's mental. It's tough. So that's why it's good when you could be dad and these kids could come to you about certain things because it's going to come a point where you're going to have to be mom, and stuff like that. But now you got moms like yourself that are just as competitive as dads now, and moms are now getting tougher like dads now. Like, no, 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 no. She needs to go back out there and play. I don't want to hear that. So moms, because
Mhm.
back in our day, it was like the moms are moms, and they baby. But now these moms, now I see some of these moms, man, they worse than the dads now and stuff like that. So moms are now competitive now, where now these kids have nowhere to go. Dads on them, moms on them. Because back in
That's
our day, you
so
could
true.
always go to moms, but now moms are now doing jitsu now. Moms are competitive just like dads now. So it's tough. So I mean, I tell parents, man, at some point, be dad, be mom, so they could just come to you about their problems and they can feel they can come to you about everything. And people see me and my daughter's bonds, and they wonder why my daughter could come right up to me after a soccer game because she knows she's not gonna get it. Why you got some of these
Mhm.
parents like, oh, let me be around this way because my dad's about to get on me. My dad about to yell. I got to hear my dad all day today.
Right.
And the only thing I will ever get on my kids, only time I get on them is effort. That's
Mm.
it. Everything else, because you can control your effort. You control your effort. Now, you play hard, I'm cool, but everything else, I'm not mad at you if you miss shots but your effort, you better not ever not play hard because that's just
Mhm.
hard. That's just being lazy. So that's the only time I would check my kid after a game. Is like, you know what? That effort was ridiculous. But for the most part, I don't have to say nothing. As long as you give me the effort, I'm good. Like,
Mm.
but that's the only time I will probably say something after a game if I feel like my kid didn't go hard. That's it. And for the most part, I'm just dad and hugging, good job, and hopefully the coach is telling you what you did wrong.
Mhm.
Hopefully that's why you gotta have coaches. I hope they telling you, I see what you did wrong. I'm sure is hoping that the coach is telling you that, and I could be
Mhm.
dad.
It's that whole support system.
Hmm.
It's, coaches do their part, parents do their part, teachers do their part. And at the end of the day, it's like all of us individually, but we're all really united. And everything
Hmm.
matters. Everything matters. And I love that advice. I thank you for it because let me tell you that I'm taking it and running with it
Mhm.
because it's so valuable. And I learned a lot, like just everything you've said, like and it all it's like kind of pieces of puzzle just kind of fitting together. It all makes sense.
Mhm.
And the intention of why you do things, it's definitely something that's very admirable, respect and very respectful, and no doubt why your people are knocking on your doors
Mhm.
and to train, and maybe at some point you have to say I don't have the space, but
Mhm.
again it's not because not of love, it's to stay true to you know to providing that value to those
Yeah.
kids that
Mhm.
you have
Want to keep it. Yeah,
already.
that's it. So I enjoy it, and I just, like I said, I just try to challenge every kid, mentally. Um,
And I'm sure they challenge you at some level.
it's always gonna be a challenge to me because I always gonna want, I'm always gonna see something that they don't see yet. So that's a challenge for me because I see it. I'm like, this kid, in about 3 years, if he sticks with it, like, so yes, it's a challenge for me because I feel that, you know, if they don't make it, I feel like it was my fault. Like I should have done more. So I'm always gonna challenge myself to do everything I can
Mm,
possibly to get that kid to some level. But I also know that it's going to take that village. It just can't take me because most
mm,
likely as a trainer, you're probably only going to see that kid at the most 2 to 3 times a week. So it's going to be the other 4 or 5 days. What are they doing? So I'm hoping that they're doing stuff on their own, that their parents are out there working with them also, that their coaches and all that, because I only could do so much. And so it takes, like I said, it's all of us, and things like that. But it is challenging because I challenge myself to, you know, do the best version of me that I can. And, sometimes, when you get a dad that says, man, my kid didn't make a shot today. I'm like, is that a shot at me? Or you trying to tell me something? So you take it personal. I mean, it's a tough job because when things don't go right, they're gonna think it's the trainer.
mhm,
But it's also a good feeling when they say, man, my kid had a great day today. You're like, yeah, and stuff like that. But it's a tough job because we all know that in this profession, when things are great, it's somebody else's. But when things go bad, oh, it's my fault. It's just the world we live in. So as coaches and as trainers, we know what we're getting into. If these parents are paying their money to see results, and I could sit here and say, man, this kid is getting better, like I see it. But for some reason, it might not click right away. Maybe it's not translating yet on a basketball court, and these
mm,
parents don't want to be patient enough to say, man, look, your kid when he first came in here, he couldn't dribble or shoot. He could dribble or shoot now, but now he still might not be scoring, but I see the improvement. It just hasn't clicked yet how to transfer what we're
mm,
doing here on the basketball court. And these parents, they want that instant like meal. Like they want it to happen right off the bat. And it takes time to translate this to game like stuff. But I see the improvement, but the parents only see improvement by how many points they score. And if they're
mm,
not scoring points, they feel like their kids suck and everything is based on how many points did my kid score. But I see so many other things that your kid is better at that you don't even notice because you're worried about his scoring. Like, man, did you see his help side defense? Did you see the way that he sprint down court? Did you see the way he was talking on defense? Did you see the way he got it his hand in the passing lane? Like, dude, like he had a great game, but you think he had a bad game because he didn't make a shot. Like, dude, that's only one part of the
mm.
game. So it's
Multi-dimensional and not just
it is. So
one-dimensional.
it is challenging, and I do challenge myself because I also know when you do stuff like this, you're going to get fault when their kid is not playing well, or you might see, okay, this kid hasn't been here in a week. He must have played bad, and the parent just tuck him away. I'm paying this money for nothing. You ain't even getting better.
Mm.
And you're like, they have no idea like how this works. So yeah, it's mhm.
So what does Reggie Brown like to do to decompress, or like your you time?
That
What do
is my
you
you
like?
time.
That is.
That's my therapy. I love it, but of course, if I'm not um doing training, of course, I'm at LA Fitness just doing my own workout or just enjoy watching my daughters, do what they do if it's track or soccer. But right
Mm,
now, like going to the bubble is what I enjoy doing, like, because I don't have to do that. That's like my therapy,
mm,
kind of like what you're doing here. Like
mm,
you enjoy doing this,
mm.
for 3 hours when you bring a guest in here, this is probably therapeutic for you to sit back, talk, and enjoy yourself. And you enjoy doing this. Your real work is probably out there in the real estate business and doing that and trying to get people into homes and all this. This is like
Yeah.
you're
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 100%
it's
right.
fun. You enjoy doing this,
Yeah.
and this is what it's all about. So it's kind of like this is like having this mic up to you is me like being at the bubble. It's fun, and for you, I'm pretty sure it's something that you and your husband enjoy doing together, and it's great. So being at the bubble is like my place of because this is mine.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Like this is like wow, like man, look how far this gym has come. I mean, and it's I this last year at the Super Bowl, while everybody else was at the Super Bowl and all that, I went to the bubble and just watched Super Bowl by myself. Just had the TV on
Mm.
there and I was just enjoying being at the bubble by myself, just enjoying it because I just like being there. It's just a great place for me, and I just enjoy it. It's my I don't know where I'll be because we all have issues. We deal with anxiety, all this kind of stuff. But for me, being at that bubble is like, man, whatever I'm going through, it's it's therapeutic for me just to see these kids. And like when my brother passed away, I needed these kids more than they needed me. Like, dude, y'all don't realize I need y'all right now.
Mm.
Like I need y'all right now. Like I just lost my brother. Like, and so being and I said, y'all don't realize, like, dude, like, I need y'all. So these last 6 months, these kids have meant more than me than anything because, you know, if you ever lost a sibling, that's one of the hardest things in the world to deal with, losing a sibling, especially unexpectedly. Like I said, and I like to share this story because one of my friends texted me about maybe 4 weeks ago, and I put it on my Facebook. He said, Reggie, if it wasn't for you sharing that story about your brother, I wouldn't have went to the doctor and I wouldn't be here right now. So it's like my brother's still changing lives while he's in heaven because he said, if it wasn't for your brother, I wouldn't be here. The doctor even told me that because he found out he had all this stuff wrong with him, but he said, because you shared that story with your brother, I went to the doctor. And so it's like cool that my brother is still here. So, um, and things like that. So I tell these kids, man, like you guys are helping me because again, like my brother was fine. He went out Friday. His girlfriend came in town from Ohio, went out Friday, and then Saturday, they went out. Then Sunday, she said your brother was telling me about his dream, and then next thing you know, she goes, he just like was spooning me like 'cause he was laying down and he died. So it's like okay, so to me, it's like now since that's happened, like so being around those kids has been very therapeutic because I'm still healing. Losing your best friend and your mentor and everybody, we're all still healing but those kids have been very what I needed. So right now it's like, man, like I need them more than they need me. They have no idea. Like, man, like they're helping me get through probably the most difficult time of these last 6 months. So these kids have been a blessing to me. So I'm glad that I started the bubble because if it wasn't for the bubble, I don't know how I would have made it these 6 months just trying to find words. Now that those 4 or 5 hours, I don't have to think about my brother that much. I can just focus on those kids, and it's been very good for me. So that's my therapeutic is being around those kids has been probably the best thing for me right now.
I love that. I didn't want to ask really because I knew it was kind of recent, so I
Yeah.
didn't really want to touch a lot on that.
Hmm.
So every podcast I end it with what your personal definition of happiness. Now I think I got a pretty good feel of what that may be, but like definition wise, what is your
What do you think it may
definition
be?
of
What do
happiness?
you think it may be?
Helping others get
That's probably
better.
yeah. I mean, it's that's it. Just changing lives. Um, just you know, learning from my mistakes. Hoping
Mm.
these kids don't make the same mistakes I've made. You know, use my experience and you know my trials and tribulations to now you know help this yeah
Advice.
advise and help this new generation of kids and because like I said just changing lives like I said impacting one kid life to me like with B has been a blessing for me and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more to come through but to me that's like it like I said just changing lives and just being there for these kids and knowing that they have somebody else to come to
Mm.
if they need support or anything, they know I'm here for them. So, I appreciate you, allowing me to have a platform to, speak about these issues and a little bit about my life and my brother and my sister and, my parents and just everything. So it's been real cool.
I thank you for sharing and sharing your life basically. I know for a lot of people it's not easy.
Hmm.
I think there is tremendous value, not just for the people that are going to see, whenever it comes out, but just for the years to come. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, till next one, everyone.